Chapter 38:02. Lu Li's voice spread to an area with a radius of 300,000 miles. Tens of millions of warriors came, most of them from the stellar realm and nearby universes. All warriors were shocked to hear Lu Li's voice. He really had the guts to come. Over at the stellar realm, the warriors looked at each other but said nothing. The Middle Realm Master was hiding nearby. They had no say in this matter. Therefore, none of them said anything. After a while, Lu Li said again, "Middle Realm Master, come out. I am here alone. Don't tell me you don't even have the guts to come out and see me." Whoosh! As soon as Lu Li finished his words, there came a noise from the north. A man flew over with a lady. It was Lady Cod. The Middle Realm Master didn't bend his back like before. Instead, he stood up straight. He was like a towering mountain. Looking from the distance, he looked like a dragon. The Middle Realm Master flew over. Lady Cod looked at Lu Li from the distance. She didn't dare to go forward. She was only a warrior close to the perfect realm. She dared to come here because she knew how powerful the Middle Realm Master was. There were so many perfect Realm Masters here. How could they not protect her? The Middle Realm Master stood in front of the warriors, looked at Lu Li, and said, "Lu Li, surrender, and I will spare your life." "We can talk about surrender later," Lu Li said coldly. "You are a Middle Realm Master. You will not go back on your word, will you? I will come as promised. Now, it is your turn to fulfill your promise. Also, you are threatening me with these low-level warriors. I really despise you." "Ha, ha," the Middle Realm Master smiled, waved his hand, and said, "Send a message and let them all go." Cod flew over at once. The warriors were trapped by a formation. When Cod went over, the formation was closed and teams of warriors showed up. The warriors' psychic power was not trapped. They were all excited when they saw Lu Li. But when they saw more than 100 perfect realm warriors, the Reaper's expressions changed. Many warriors sent a message. Lu Li waved his hand and said, "All disciples of the Reaper and the Lu Alliance, listen up. Return to the chaotic universe at once. Do not linger." Lu Sovereign. Many disciples of the Lu Alliance dropped to their knees. They felt guilty for dragging Lu Li down. Seeing that many disciples of the Lu Alliance were still kneeling, Lu Li said coldly, "My words don't work now?" "Yes, sir," some of the Grand Elders who had their seals removed immediately urged. Groups of Grim Reapers and Lu Alliance disciples quickly flew away, quickly escaping into the distance. The perimeter was sealed off by powerful warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate realm. Lu Li could not tell with psychic power if they had left safely. But Lu Li did not mind. Since the Middle Region Realm King had decided to let them leave, he definitely wouldn't do anything to them. With so many experts present, even a mid-stage Realm King could not afford to lose face like this. Considering his identity, it was shameful enough for him to use these low-level warriors to force Lu Li out. There was nothing he could do. As long as they could kill Lu Li, it would be a piece of cake for them to kill him. If they could not kill Lu Li, then what was the point of killing those low-level warriors? "Your men are all gone." After a while, the Middle Region Realm King said, "Lu Li, can you give me an answer now? You're not relying on me. You're relying on the person behind me. You should understand what I'm saying, right?" "Emperor of Punishment," Lu Li said with a smile. After a pause, he continued, "Surrender to Emperor of Punishment and be his dog? Don't you know how cruel Emperor of Punishment is? How many universes above the fourth plane have been destroyed by him? Don't you know how many lives have died in his hands? Shouldn't we join forces to kill such a heinous demon? How can you be his dog? Do you have any guts? How dare you?" The Middle Region Realm King shouted with rage. "Do you think a puny person like you can insult Emperor of Punishment? What do you know about what happened in the past? When the three forces are at war, it is normal that there will be accidental injuries. Emperor of Punishment is about to come out from cultivation, and he will kill anyone who disobeys him. By then, Emperor of Punishment will reign supreme in the universe. How can he hurt his people? Lu Li, I will give you one last chance. If you don't surrender, die." The Middle Region Realm King was not appreciative of talents, nor did he want to recruit Lu Li to fight against Emperor's Flame. He had no other choice. He could not find out what was going on with Emperor's Flame. Only Lu Li knew. If Lu Li surrendered, then he could learn more about Emperor's Flame. The Middle Region Realm King could answer to Emperor of Punishment. Lu Li shook his head and said, I am sorry. I cannot be the dog of a cruel over-god like Emperor of Punishment. I want to give you a piece of advice. Before the outcome is decided, don't pick a side easily. If Emperor of Punishment could win easily, he wouldn't have to hide in the 9 hells of purgatory for hundreds of thousands of years like a coward. If we win, I'm afraid that everyone's fates will be very, very miserable. Lu Li's words caused a stir. They knew something about the overgods, but not so much. They didn't know the difference in strength between the two sides. They knew something about what Lu Li said. It seemed that the 2 battles between the overgods were started by Emperor of Punishment, and many universes were destroyed by him. Many major races escaped from universes above the 4th heaven. In other words, many of their ancestors and people had died indirectly in the hands of Emperor of Punishment. When it came to choosing a side, they were already hesitant. Many of them weren't willing. Now that Lu Li had mentioned it, they were starting to waver. The Middle Region Realm King looked around and saw the glint in the eyes of many absolute realm warriors. He sneered and said, don't listen to his nonsense. In a few hundred years, Emperor of Punishment will come out. By then, you will see the 3rd battle of the overgods. You will also see how Emperor's Flame and the others die one by one. Countless overgods have died in the hands of Emperor of Punishment. Okay, less nonsense. Let's kill Lu Li together. Together? Lu Li sneered and said with disdain, Middle Region Realm King. Aren't you known to be invincible in the immortal region? I have only cultivated for a few thousand years. If you want to kill me, do you need to work together with a group of absolute realm warriors? Do you dare to fight me alone? If you don't dare, then how can you summon the other absolute realm warriors to die for you? Lu Li's tone was arrogant, a bit too much. However, he had the right to be arrogant. Killing Bei Xian and Yu Shu was the basis for his arrogance. His words were very hurtful. If a mid-stage realm king didn't dare to accept the challenge, then he would be looked down upon by these 100 paragon realms. Without prestige, how would he be able to command the immortal realms and the 8 major starfields in the future? What a sharp tongue. The Middle Region Realm King smiled and did not get angry. He only calmly said, go outside. Otherwise, I'm afraid this realm will not be able to withstand it. I accept your challenge. All right. Lu Li nodded and flew the Spectre ship up into the sky. Middle Realm Kings followed closely behind, followed by a group of absolute realm warriors. When the nearby powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm saw this scene, they hurriedly followed. The remaining tens of millions of spectating martial artists also quickly flew out of the void. Such an unparalleled battle was destined to leave its name in history. Naturally, they would not miss it. Remember the website of the mobile version. Chapter 3803. Outside, Lu Li and the Middle Realm King stood in the air, thousands of miles apart. Thousands of miles behind the Middle Realm King stood a group of consummate realm warriors. Thousands of miles behind them was a group of warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate realm. Behind them were tens of millions of onlookers. Lu Li didn't make a move after he came out, nor did the Middle Realm King. Lu Li wasn't in a hurry, and the Middle Realm King seemed to be waiting for the onlookers to come out. He had absolute confidence in his abilities. He wanted to take down or kill Lu Li in front of all the powerful warriors and onlookers. In this way, he could deter others and make those warriors at the peak of the Realm King realm stand firmly on his side. When all the onlookers were in position, the Middle Realm King looked at Lu Li proudly and said, Lu Li, you are a junior. Don't say that I am bullying you. I will let you attack first. Oh, Lu Li grinned and said, Middle Realm King, you are indeed the number 1 in the immortal realm. I am convinced by your bearing. I will not be unreasonable. Be careful, Realm King. Swish. Lu Li slowly flew towards the Middle Realm King. He didn't take out his weapon, nor did he accumulate power. He just flew towards the Middle Realm King. A white armor appeared on his body. It seemed to be condensed from some kind of energy, but this armor didn't seem to have any power. It seemed to be an ordinary defensive skill. Luli flew over so casually, causing the Realm Kings and consummate Realm Warriors in the distance to be shocked. Who was this Middle Realm King? That was the most powerful person in the Immortal Realm. How could Luli be so careless? Was he not afraid that he wouldn't be able to kill the Middle Realm King in one move and would be killed instead? Some consummate Realm Warriors were secretly worried for the Middle Realm King. Luli had the origin of ice and snow. If Luli got too close and suddenly released the origin of ice and snow to freeze him, the Middle Realm King would be in trouble. He might even be killed by Luli. The Middle Realm King knew that Luli had the origin of ice and snow, but he wasn't afraid. He had a great treasure. He was confident that he could break the origin of ice and even destroy the cold air released by the origin of ice. So he didn't dodge and let Luli come closer. Today, he would crush Luli fair and square. He would let all the consummate Realm Warriors see with their own eyes what it meant to be the most powerful person in the Immortal Realm. 3,000 miles, 1,000 miles, 500 miles. They were very close. If Luli sped up, he could reach them in an instant. The Middle Realm King still didn't do anything. He just stared at Luli. Luli looked calm as well. His unruffled demeanor made the Middle Realm King feel uneasy. What was Luli relying on? How dare he be so unbridled? Seeing that Luli was still getting closer and that he would soon be more than 30 miles away, the Middle Realm King felt even more uneasy. He thought for a moment and revealed a set of battle armor on his body. This battle armor was overflowing with colorful light, and the runes flickered. With a single glance, one could tell that it was a supreme divine artifact of the highest grade. At the same time, a long spear appeared in the hands of the Middle Stage Realm King. This was also a peak-grade supreme divine weapon, a supreme treasure that the Middle Stage Realm King had refined for hundreds of thousands of years. Origin power poured into the spear, causing the armor and spear to light up. An aura as vast as the dome of the heavens emanated from the Middle Stage Realm King's body, suppressing even the paragons behind him. The group of paragons felt like they were looking at a sea of blood when they stared at the mid-stage King Qin Wentian. All the paragons felt their hearts pounding. As expected of the number one expert in the Immortal Realms, Luli completely ignored the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian and continued to move closer. His offensive and defensive abilities were both strong, but the gap in other aspects was too great. He only had one chance to attack. If he couldn't kill the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian this time, then it would be very difficult to kill him. It just so happened that the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian was giving him a handicap. How could he miss such a good opportunity? Luli naturally had to cherish it. He wanted to kill the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian in one move. If he wanted to kill the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian in one move, then he had to get closer and not give the Middle Stage Realm King a chance to dodge. 250 miles, 150 miles, 50 miles. The group of paragons and those who were infinitely close to it looked at each other in dismay. A warrior of this level could fly thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. What was Luli doing so close? Did he think he could win by staying close to them? With the strength of a Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian, he could fly tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. Luli was still moving closer, but the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian was getting nervous. It wasn't because of Luli's approach, but because of the calmness and ease in Luli's eyes. Luli had killed 2 Realm Kings and more than a dozen Paragons before. He had to be careful. Otherwise, he would be the laughingstock of the world if he failed miserably at such an easy task. However, he had already said that he would give Luli a handicap. He couldn't go back on his words, could he? Seeing that Luli was still moving closer, the Middle Stage Realm King Qin Wentian made up his mind and was ready to step back. It didn't matter if he lost face. He just wanted to put some distance between himself and Luli. Chapter 38:04. Boom, 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 whoosh, 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 the huge claw and the 3 spears collided. This time, it wasn't like the test with Imperial Star. where the power of all creation penetrated the treasures and damaged them. This time, there was a terrible explosion that swept out in all directions. The sky within a radius of thousands of miles was torn apart. The layers of ice on this side were blown into pieces. A violent whirlwind swept out, destroying the layers of ice on the periphery. Thick mist rose up and the scene was extremely frightening. The absolute realm warriors in the distance could see everything clearly. Those infinitely close to the absolute realm could only see the general situation. As for the tens of millions of warriors behind them, they could only hear the sound. In the distance, the void was first frozen for 10,000 miles before a terrifying explosion erupted. The void was torn apart, layers of ice were blasted apart, and clouds and mist soared into the sky. This scene left many martial artists speechless. This was truly a battle between realm kings. Wasn't this power far too horrifying? Lu Li and the Middle Region Realm King both stepped back. Both of them looked terrible. Lu Li had just felt a fatal danger. If he didn't step back fast enough, he would have been torn to pieces by the claw. His 3 long spears had already exploded, and the power of all things had been scattered, but his sovereign artifact hadn't been damaged at all. Lu Li didn't know why the Middle Region Realm King looked so terrible. He was shocked. How could Lu Li's attack be so powerful? He could sense that the sovereign weapon had actually lost 30% of its power from that attack. In other words, if Lu Li were to unleash 2 more attacks, the sovereign weapon wouldn't be damaged, but it would be temporarily useless. This was a divine artifact, given to him by Emperor Xing. The reason he was the most powerful in the immortal region was because of this divine artifact. They were all realm kings. How weak could they be? At most, it would be the difference between the king of the east and Bei Xian. If it weren't for the divine artifact, he wouldn't be so powerful. He wouldn't dare to say he was the most powerful in the immortal region. He wouldn't be able to suppress the entire immortal region. If it weren't for the divine artifact, he would be dead. Thinking about this, he broke out in a cold sweat. Lu Li really was a freak. He had only cultivated for a few thousand years. He had lived for millions of years, but Lu Li almost killed him? How could he not be frightened? How could he look? Both sides were fearful of each other. They stood in the void, not daring to move. The icy mist gradually dissipated, and the surrounding void also returned to its original state. However, the middle stage realm king still did not make a move. He was somewhat hesitant in his heart. Should he take the risk and make a move? Or should he summon all the great perfection deities to attack together? If he took the risk and attacked, then once his sovereign artifact became useless, he would definitely die. Right now, Lu Li didn't dare to move. Clearly, he was afraid of his master artifact. If Lu Li knew that his Lord God artifact could only take 2 attacks, then Lu Li's torrent of attacks would probably be endless. That, coupled with the ice origin, would make it impossible for him to escape. If he were to summon the other absolute completion realm warriors to attack together, it would be equivalent to indirectly declaring that they were no match for Lu Li, which would be a huge blow to his prestige. In the future, it would be difficult for him to subdue all the powerful warriors, and there would be many powerful warriors who would obey his orders in secret. My life is more important. In the end, the middle stage realm king made up his mind. The punishment Darch was about to come out of seclusion, so it didn't matter if he lost some of his prestige. When the time came, the punishment Darch and the others would achieve a great victory. Who would dare to resist? Naturally, his life was more important than his reputation. Having made up his mind, he sent a message to the 4 absolute completion realm warriors of the middle region and then to Master of the Western region, Master of the Koan region, Master of the Northern region, and so on. His tone was stern. If they didn't act, when the punishment Darch came out of seclusion, all of their races would be wiped out. Those who disobeyed his orders were enemies. The group of absolute completion realm warriors looked at each other, their faces clouded. The middle stage realm king was asking them to act together. This meant that the middle stage realm king was no match for Lu Li. While they were shocked, they all remembered what Lu Li said before. Don't be in a hurry to pick a side. If Lu Li won, they would all be doomed. The problem was, if they disobeyed, the middle stage realm king would not let them go. Could they resist the Lord God artifact? Also, was the punishment Arch coming out of seclusion? They knew that the punishment Arch had 3 other Lord Gods on his side. Empress Flame had been hiding all these years, and the immortal region had always been under the control of the punishment Arch. Comparing the two sides, the punishment Thearch's side was clearly more powerful. Haha. Luli saw that the middle stage realm king did not make a move. He stood in the air and said with a smile, "What? Mid-stage realm king, what are you standing there for? Are you afraid to come over? You are the #1 in the immortal region, but I don't think you are that great." Haha. The middle stage realm king laughed and said, "Aren't you standing there? I will stand here and let you attack. Come on. Come on." Luli shouted and slowly floated towards the middle stage realm king. He still had a trump card to save his life. If the situation was bad, he could go into the realm of magic. The middle stage realm king seemed to be very afraid of him. He could not afford to be weak. He would attack again first. He still had a lot of power of creation. He wanted to see if he could still easily shatter this Lord God artifact when he made 10 spears. Luli's movement made the middle stage realm king panic. 3 breaths. The middle stage realm king hurriedly said to the 100 or so absolute completion realm warriors behind him, after 3 breaths, attack together and kill Luli. He is not a Lord God. If we attack together, we will die. If anyone dares to not attack, we will kill them later. The middle stage realm king's words made many of the absolute completion realm warriors' expressions darken. There was no turning back now. If they did not attack and Luli was killed, it would be their end. Many of the absolute completion realm warriors' eyes flickered. They had a plan. There were so many of them attacking together. They could just pretend to release some attacks and not get serious. Luli was not an idiot. Could he not feel that their attacks were weak? The king of combat thought the same. He even sent a message. "Luli, the middle stage realm king wants us to attack together. I will pretend. Be careful." After 3 breaths, the middle stage realm king shouted, "Attack." He was the first to fly out. At the same time, the other absolute completion realm warriors behind him flew out as fast as they could. The king of the western region, the king of the Kuan region, and the king of the northern region led some other absolute completion realm warriors to go around. The powerful warriors were fast. They surrounded Luli and attacked him from all sides. Luli entered the magic realm as soon as the powerful warriors moved. He knew that a group of powerful warriors would attack together. He might not be able to withstand it, so he entered the magic realm first. If he was shaken out, then he would have to rely on the power of creation. At the very least, he would be able to dodge the first wave of attacks. "Attack!" The middle stage realm king shouted. He did not use his Lord God artifact. Instead, he took out his spear and stabbed at Luli with a spear shadow that stretched for thousands of miles. The other absolute completion realm warriors also attacked. In an instant, the space Luli was in was shrouded in all kinds of light. Chapter 38:05. An attack from one at the absolute completion realm was shocking enough. Now that more than 100 of them were attacking at the same time, it was not just shocking. Many warriors who were infinitely close to the absolute completion realm were trembling in fear. The sky was broken. That was what the spectators were thinking. A huge hole appeared in the void where Luli was. The space within a radius of thousands of miles was collapsing. The collapse was still going on. The powerful force of space distortion swept across, stirring up a horrifying whirlwind. The space thousands of miles away was still trembling. The scene of destruction was horrifying. If these absolute completion realm warriors were to make a move in the Dipper realm, the entire Dipper realm would collapse at once. Billions of lives would be lost, and the Dipper realm would become a wasteland. The nearby warriors who were infinitely close to the absolute completion realm retreated quickly. The spectators in the distance also retreated in fear, fearing that the space would collapse and spread out. If they would be sucked in, they would be smashed to pieces. After all, for those low-level warriors, they were too far away to see clearly. They were just here to watch the show. Some of the absolute completion realm warriors were bluffing. The attacks they released were frightening, but not powerful. Middle Realm Masters knew this as well, but it didn't matter. It was enough for so many absolute completion Realm Warriors to attack. Luli should be dead by now, right? The group of absolute completion Realm Warriors used psychic power to check around. The situation was so chaotic just now. The space was collapsing so violently that they could not search. At the moment, they were using psychic power to check around and also mobilizing force in heaven and earth to sense the situation. However, after a while, they found nothing. Luli was smashed to pieces. Many absolute completion Realm Warriors began to speculate. It was quite possible. After all, there were so many powerful warriors attacking at the same time. The most important thing was the collapse of space. None of them could stand such a strong force of space distortion. The group of absolute completion Realm Warriors checked again, but still found nothing. The Realm Masters and Middle Realm Masters began to have doubts. They sensed that the moment the attack was launched, Luli disappeared. Had Luli gone into hiding? With so many attacks, Luli couldn't hide no matter how hard he tried. Had he really been smashed to pieces? But there was no smell of blood in the air. Even if a warrior was smashed to pieces, theoretically speaking, there should be a faint smell of blood. If Luli wasn't dead, then where was he? There were so many great perfection deities, so it was impossible for them to disappear right under their noses. Many of the great perfection deities looked at each other in bewilderment. Some of the warriors at the Absolute Realm speculated that Luli was still alive, but they didn't know how Luli had hidden. All right, Luli cheered in the Dharma Realm. How come he was not knocked out by such a powerful attack? He immediately felt confident. This attack proved how powerful the Spell Realm was. He should be absolutely safe within the Spell Realm. The main thing was that if the lords didn't attack him, the great perfection deities definitely wouldn't be able to hurt him. He activated the Mark of the Great Path and sensed the situation outside. He found that the space outside had already collapsed. It would probably take some time for it to recover, but he was not in a hurry. He quietly waited inside, waiting for the space to recover, waiting for the right opportunity to go out. As time passed, the whirlwind caused by the spatial collapse gradually subsided, and the surrounding space gradually returned to normal. After waiting for less than an hour, the surrounding space returned to normal. The group of great perfection deities looked at each other, their eyes still filled with bewilderment. Was Luli dead or alive? The warriors watching from the outside had the same question. Theoretically speaking, under such a powerful attack, and with Luli at the center of it, unless he was unlord, there was no doubt that he would be dead. But they all had a suspicion that maybe Luli wasn't dead. Luli was a freak. He had only been cultivating for a few thousand years. Almost everyone here had been cultivating longer than him. Luli's cultivation time was a fraction of theirs. Luli was at the Saint Sovereign Realm. He didn't have the chi and energy of a great perfection deity, but even a realm master of the Middle Realm had to summon a group of great perfection deities to attack him. How could such a powerful warrior, a genius with so many strange skills, die so easily? Whoosh, one of the great perfection deities at the Middle Realm couldn't stand it anymore. He flew over to where Luli was and closed his eyes to check. After waiting for a moment, some other great perfection deities flew over. The group of great perfection deities sensed their surroundings and released some techniques, but they didn't find anything. Whoosh, the newly promoted realm masters of the northern region and the southern region flew over as well. They were worried and wanted to check. Several great perfection deities went with them. They all wanted to make sure if Luli was dead or not. After all, there were so many great perfection deities there. Luli should be fine even if he came out of nowhere. Buzzing, as the great perfection deities flew over, space suddenly trembled and a man came out. Luli really came out of nowhere. There were already more than 20 great perfection deities here. They were scared out of their wits. They reacted quickly and didn't run away. They were too close to Luli. If Luli wanted to make a move, he wouldn't be able to escape. Out of instinct, they all launched their attacks toward Luli. Buzzing, Luli released the source of ice and snow, completely ignoring the attacks of these powerful warriors. More than 20 perfect realm warriors landed their attacks on him. Then, something happened that shocked these perfect realm warriors. Lu Li's armor flickered for a bit, and then the color faded a bit. After that, there was no after that. Lu Li's strength of creation armor withstood the attacks of more than 20 great perfection deities. There were many great perfection deities, but they didn't have an almighty artifact. They couldn't break the strength of creation armor. Lu Li just consumed some strength of creation, which was replenished easily. The source of ice and snow that Lu Li released had taken effect. He also poured out a gust of cold air. The great perfection deities were so close to him, and they just attacked. How could they run away? They were all frozen in an instant. Retreat. The moment the kings of realms outside saw Lu Li appear, they retreated without any hesitation. So did the middle region realm masters and many great perfection deities. Some of the great perfection deities were too slow. They were only thousands of miles away from Lu Li, and they were all frozen in ice. Go to hell. Lu Li didn't care about those outside. He stared at the more than 20 great perfection deities around him. He generated 10 spears and stabbed at the great perfection deities nearby. The first to attack were the newly promoted realm masters of the northern region and the southern region. Boom, 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 boom. The middle region realm masters and the other great perfection deities came to their senses and began to attack in a frenzy. They shattered the ice and rescued all the frozen great perfection deities. The attacks of the great perfection deities were powerful as well. Soon, the ice in the periphery was shattered and turned into a steaming mist. The next second, they all stopped. Their eyes were filled with fear. In the time for just one breath, the more than 20 great perfection deities had all passed away. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 38:06. Bang, 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 bang. A series of light explosions rang out, and the bodies of the great perfection deities exploded one after another. Furthermore, they were torn into pieces. Streaks of light flashed past, and the souls of the paragons all fled. Warriors of the perfect realm reacted quickly. As soon as their bodies exploded, their souls fled. Lu Li took a look. Streaks of strange energy appeared in his hand. It was a liquid similar to the perishing elixir. He had absorbed it later in a strange space. With a wave of his hand, drops of divine liquid flew out and easily hit a dozen or so souls, including the king of the south and the king of the north. These two were the main targets of his attention. Swish, swish, black smoke rose from the souls, and they were annihilated. In soul form, they were vulnerable. Lu Li had used such powerful energy. Naturally, they could not run away when they were hit. Their souls and souls were shattered. The perfect realm warriors were shocked to see the souls being destroyed. Lu Li was killing the perfect realm warriors as if he was slaughtering livestock. In an instant, so many of them had perished. The rest of them were frightened. Even though they had more than 100, they could not withstand Lu Li's slaughter. Lu Li had killed more than 20 at once. The remaining 100 would be gone in a few times. Lu Li had already killed 2 realm kings, and now 2 more had died in his hands. Was Lu Li the bane of realm masters? Was he a specialist in killing realm masters? That was not the most important thing. Why couldn't Lu Li be killed by the joint attack of so many consummate realm warriors? Just now, the more than 20 perfect realm warriors had all hit Lu Li with their powerful attacks. They were not just putting on a show. There were so many powerful warriors here. Apart from the middle realm masters, none of the other perfect realm warriors dared to stand the attack. Lu Li not only had strong attacks that could kill more than 20 perfect realm warriors in an instant, but he also had strong defense that could withstand the joint attack of more than 20 perfect realm warriors. Also, when the 100 perfect realm warriors attacked Lu Li, he vanished into thin air and then reappeared again. The space in that area just now had completely collapsed. He is strong. Master of Realms wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Luckily, he had left some leeway. The attack was just for show, and he didn't go to where Lu Li was. Otherwise, he would be dead now. His eyes turned, and his body suddenly flashed, leaving behind a doppelganger, while his real body quietly went into hiding. He didn't care so much. He had to retreat first. What if Luli were to lose his mind and start a killing spree? By then, they would die in vain. The eyes of the great perfection deities in the surroundings were also filled with terror. Many of them wanted to flee, but none of them took the lead. They all groaned inwardly. They felt that they had boarded a pirate ship, and something big was going to happen if they followed a Middle Realm king. If Luli were to hunt them down in a fit of rage and kill them one by one, who could survive? Whoosh, Luli put away the interspatial rings, armors, and weapons. Then he looked around with coldness and killing intent. He said casually, "What are you doing here? Do you want to keep the king of the north and the king of the south company? Apart from mid-stage realm kings, all other great perfection deities are to scram immediately. Otherwise, I'll kill without mercy." Luli flew up slowly toward the direction with the most great perfection deities. He was getting faster and faster, and his energy was growing stronger. Luli was only a saint king. No matter how strong he was, that was all there was to him. But the great perfection deities here were all frightened. None of them dared to be the first to run, for fear that the Middle Realm king would remember them. Luli is an arrow at the end of its flight. Don't be afraid of him. Let's go together and kill him. The Middle Region Realm King roared, then added, "Those who dare to disobey my orders, I will kill them all when I return." Several great perfection deities were about to run, but they didn't dare to do so after hearing the Middle Realm King's words. They didn't know whether to leave or fight. They stood where they were, embarrassed. Luli didn't want to waste time with them. He sped up and dashed over. When he was thousands of miles away from the more than a dozen great perfection deities, he released source of ice and snow without hesitation. Cold wind howled, and ice and snow covered the sky. The snow and ice were falling fast. Soon, an area with a radius of 3,000 miles was covered. The great perfection deities couldn't run even if they wanted to. As soon as the ice and snow fell, the space around them was frozen. The cold air slowed them down, and their source of ice and snow were frozen. They could only run for hundreds of miles before they turned into ice sculptures. In addition to the more than a dozen great perfection deities here, more than a dozen in other directions were frozen as well. Luli was not affected. He flew over quickly and released the force of creation. One spear after another pierced through the great perfection deities. Bang, 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 one after another, the great perfection deities were reduced to a mist of blood. Their souls escaped. This time, Luli was prepared. Surges of energy with properties of destruction came out and annihilated all the souls. In the time for a few breaths, more than a dozen great perfection deities were killed. Unfortunately, when Luli tried to kill the other great perfection deities in other directions, he realized that they had all been rescued. Swish, swish. Luli waved his hand, and the ice turned into mist. Luli flew out from the mist. This time, he didn't waste any time. Instead, he dashed toward where most of the great perfection deities were gathered. When the great perfection deities saw Luli coming, they all retreated as if they had seen the plague. They didn't dare to run, and they didn't dare to fight. They ran around awkwardly. Whoosh! Middle Realm masters and some great perfection deities began to attack from afar. They were so fast that Luli found it hard to dodge. Luli didn't want to run. He relied on the armor formed from the force of creation to withstand the attacks. He didn't go after the Middle Realm masters either. At the end of the day, he was worried about the almighty artifact. Luli flew around. Everywhere he went, the great perfection deities would run away. They only dared to attack him from a distance. After a while, Luli vanished. He had entered the Dharma realm. Luli's disappearance scared many great perfection deities. Last time, Luli disappeared and killed more than 20 great perfection deities. Now he disappeared again. This time, Luli didn't disappear for long. He reappeared after the time for a dozen breaths. As soon as he appeared, he turned into a red blur and dashed toward a place where more than a dozen great perfection deities were gathered. There was another realm master here, the king of the western region. Run! The king of the western region saw that Luli was as fast as lightning, even faster than him. He was so scared that he ran away at once. The other great perfection deities scattered as well. This time, they didn't run away. Instead, they flew into the distance. Did they stop here because they weren't fast? Now that Lu Li's speed had increased, how could they dare to stay? They couldn't break Lu Li's defense, but Lu Li could kill them easily. They were not stupid. They were afraid of the Middle Realm Master's threat, but if they didn't run now, they would die in the next moment. They couldn't care less. When a group of great perfection deities ran away, the others followed. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the great perfection deities had fled. Only the Middle Realm Master and the 3 great perfection deities were left. Lu Li didn't go after the great perfection deities. He stared at the Middle Realm Master and said, "Middle Realm Master, do you dare to fight me?" P.S. Chapter 4 Third Sect Master. Chapter 38:07. Many of the warriors who were infinitely close to them had left as well. But the onlookers didn't leave because they believed Lu Li wouldn't do anything to them. They believed that Lu Li wouldn't do anything to them. They were just minor characters and didn't have the ability to threaten Lu Li. They didn't even make a move just now. Lu Li wouldn't be so crazy. The tens of millions of warriors didn't see the fight clearly, but they could guess what happened. At this moment, all the onlookers were extremely shocked. Lu Li was indeed the Realm King Reaper. He had killed 2 Realm Kings and slaughtered so many perfected Realm Warriors. More than 100 of them besieged him, but they couldn't kill him. Instead, he killed so many of them, and now, most of them were scared away. The Realm King of the Middle Realm was furious. The escape of those at the Realm King of the Middle Realm was a blatant violation of his orders and a blow to his prestige. Also, with the escape of those at the Realm King of the Middle Realm, he was uncertain. Should he fight or retreat? So many at the Realm King of the Middle Realm couldn't kill Lu Li. Could the 4 of them kill Lu Li? If he couldn't kill Lu Li, he would be the one to die once Lu Li found a chance. But if he didn't fight, would he run as well? His illustrious reputation would be destroyed in a day, and the prestige he had accumulated over the years would also be swept to the ground. The 3 at the Realm King of the Middle Realm were even more anxious. Lu Li could kill at the Realm King of the Middle Realm like chopping vegetables. They didn't have an almighty artifact. They might die here soon, but they couldn't run either. They and the Realm King of the Middle Realm were in the same boat. They wouldn't have a good time if the Realm King of the Middle Realm was defeated. Realm King of the Middle Realm, are you dumb? Lu Li waited for a moment. Seeing that the Realm King of the Middle Realm didn't reply, he shouted again, "Do you dare to fight? If not, then go back to your Middle Realm. Don't embarrass yourself here." The Realm King of the Middle Realm was enraged. He had never been humiliated like this. When he was about to make a move, another at the Realm King of the Middle Realm whispered, "Realm King, Lu Li is trying to provoke you. His defense and attacks are strange. I suggest we go back and report to Emperor Mu. We can find a chance to kill Lu Li later." Another at the Realm King of the Middle Realm said, "Yes, Realm King, Lu Li is strange. I think he has divine energy from the Almighty God. Otherwise, how can he be so strong? We should stay away from this matter for now and report it to Emperor Mu." The 3rd perfected Realm King nodded. The Middle Realm King suppressed the rage in his heart. He thought about it and agreed. The energy around Lu Li was strange. So many perfect Realm Warriors could not break it. The 3 streaks of energy actually made the almighty artifact lose a third of its power. How strong was that? How could an ordinary person possess such a thing? It might very well have been bestowed by the Flame Empress. Is this the power of the world? Or is it transformed from the power of the world? The Middle Region Realm King was a little suspicious. He paused for a moment, then turned around and waved his hand. "Let's go. We'll kill this little bastard later." The Middle Stage Realm King brought the 3 paragons with him and flew off into the distance without saying a word. Lu Li didn't chase after them. He coldly shouted, "Mid-Stage Realm King, number 1 in the Immortal Realms? That's all there is to it. Wait for me at your Clear Lake. While I get back, I will definitely kill my way into Clear Lake and exterminate your entire clan." Lu Li's voice was very loud. All the warriors nearby heard it. The Middle Stage Realm King's eyes were burning with anger. He knew that this matter would soon be spread by these warriors. By then, the entire immortal realms would know, and his reputation would be ruined. But was he supposed to kill all these tens of millions of warriors? If he could kill them all, could he also kill all the perfect realm warriors who had already escaped and those who were infinitely close to perfect realm warriors? Could he kill them all? Luli, just you wait. The middle stage realm king could only roar in rage. Tell your master behind you that in a few hundred years, it will be your end. Ha! Luli laughed and ignored him. He didn't chase after them either. It wasn't that he couldn't catch up, but that using the power of all things to fly was too extravagant. He was very wary of the middle stage realm king's almighty artifact. He didn't dare to take the risk. Why would the other perfect realm warriors kill so many? At the end of the day, these perfect realm warriors were just being coerced. If they won the battle of the almighty realms in a few hundred years, they could settle the score however they wanted. If they couldn't, then it would be meaningless. The middle stage realm king and the others had all left. Luli didn't need to stay any longer. It was enough for him to kill so many perfect realm warriors. It was just a pity that he couldn't kill the middle stage realm king yet. He took out the Spectre ship and flew toward the chaotic star region. He took out the third eye and found the main force of the god of death. He was worried. The god of death had so many warriors and so many disciples of the Lu Alliance. They were a hidden danger. The middle stage realm king mobilized all his forces to track them down. No matter where the disciples of the god of death were hiding, they would be found. How to settle the disciples of the god of death and the Lu Alliance was a big problem. Luli thought about it and took out the third eye to check the Flame Empress universe. He said, "Lord, can you settle the god of death and the disciples of the Lu Alliance at the Half-Crescent Land? I promise you that, without permission, they will not leave the Half-Crescent Land." Empress Flame was sitting in her usual spot. Hearing Lu Li's words, she said calmly, "Bring them in." The Flame Empress universe has 4 continents and the Omen Island in the center. As long as they don't trespass on the Omen Island, you can settle the other 4 continents. Hurry up and finish it. Seize the time to comprehend it. Don't delay the proper business. Thank you, Lord. Luli thanked her. He retracted his psychic power and found the place where King of Wings and Emperor of Feather were hiding. He ordered, "Send out the order of the god of death. Let all the disciples of the god of death and the Lu Alliance gather together. I will take you to a place that is absolutely safe." Yes, King of Wings and Emperor of Feather did not know the situation yet. They would carry out Lu Li's orders without asking any questions. Lu Li said after some thoughts, "I have rescued the disciples of the Grim Reaper and the Lu Alliance. I will bring them to meet up with you." King of Wings and the others were overjoyed to hear the news. They did not ask any more questions. They all got to work. The hidden disciples of the god of death and the Lu Alliance were mobilized. Then, they chose a small universe that crossed Lu Li's route and went there. Lu Li caught up with the disciples of the god of death and the Lu Alliance. He did not reveal himself and went on with them on the Spectre. He secretly ordered the patriarchs here to go to that small universe. On the other hand, Lu Li used the third eye to track down the Middle Realm Masters and the group of Perfect Realm Warriors. They did not have any scruples and used the third eye to track them. The Perfect Realm Warriors of the Heavenly Dipper universe went back to their own universes. Warriors of the other 8 galaxies spread out and went to their own galaxies. But the Perfect Realm Warriors of the Immortal region were in an awkward situation. Should they run back to the Immortal region or gather together and wait for orders from the Middle Realm Masters? Go back to the Immortal region. The Perfect Realm Warriors sent a message to each other. The law did not punish the masses. The Middle Realm Masters were useless themselves. How could they be blamed? It was not like they didn't make a move. So many Perfect Realm Warriors had died. It was understandable that they fled out of fear. Third Master. Chapter 38:08. An earthquake. The 8 major star fields and the entire immortal domain felt a violent earthquake. Countless martial artists were dumbfounded. Lu Li had come alone and fought more than 100 absolute completion realm warriors. In the end, he won. The number one in the immortal region had changed. Luli rose up in the 8 galaxies. At first, he was in the barren universe. Then he went to the chaotic universe and the Big Dipper universe. He had been to the immortal region, but he didn't stay there for long. It felt like he had risen up like a comet and soared into the sky. Countless warriors sighed. Back then, the Red Dragon race, the Four-Armed race, and some other major races had hunted Lu Li for many years. The Lang clan and the Hu clan were all enemies of Lu Li. At that time, Lu Li was very weak, so weak that any of the major races could crush him. How many years had it been? Ordinary warriors would be shocked even if they broke through to the absolute completion realm, let alone reach his level. Lu Li hadn't reached the absolute completion realm, but he had become a Reaper. He had killed dozens of absolute completion realm warriors and killed 4 realm kings. The chaotic universe was even more shocked. The absolute completion realm warriors had all returned. None of them had died. They had a secret agreement with Lu Li and were just putting on a show. When Lu Li attacked, they immediately retreated. They were the fastest to escape, so they were all alive and well. Lu Li was the leader of the chaotic universe. After this battle, all the warriors of the chaotic universe were proud of him. In the hearts of the warriors of the 8 galaxies, the immortal region was super powerful. Compared to the immortal region, they were all country bumpkins, a bunch of ants. Right now, their alliance leader actually challenged the immortal realms and even suppressed them, defeating the number 1 ranker of the immortal realms, becoming the strongest expert in this world. How could they not feel agitated and proud? The immortal region was in an uproar. The Middle Realm King had always been the strongest. This was not just for tens of thousands of years, but for hundreds of thousands of years. This was evident from the fact that he could command the other Realm Kings. Now, the Middle Realm King had brought more than 100 absolute completion realm warriors to kill Lu Li. Not only did they return empty-handed, so many of them had died. Did this mean that Lu Li had surpassed the Middle Realm King and became the strongest in the immortal region? Warriors who had been in contact with Lu Li, such as those from the Milky Way Society, and those who knew Lu Li or had seen him, all had mixed feelings. The speed of Lu Li's rise was too fast. They weren't good at expressing themselves, so they couldn't say anything nice. They could only express their shock by saying things like, "Wow, awesome," and "I'm impressed." After the Middle Stage Realm King returned, he remained a Clear Lake. He did not issue any decrees, nor did he care about the countless people in the immortal region who were ridiculing him. He was very clear that there was no point in doing anything now. How could he seal everyone's mouths? Even if he sent some martial artist to kill a group of people to warn others, others would at most not say anything on the surface, but they would still sneer at him in secret. As for those great perfection deities, he wasn't going to pursue the matter. He would just pretend that nothing had happened. The law didn't punish the masses, so they all fled and disobeyed the order. Could it be that he had killed all the great perfection deities? Putting aside whether or not he could kill them all, even if he could, wouldn't the immortal domain be thrown into chaos? He had already crushed the token given to him by Emperor Mui and was waiting for Emperor Mui to summon him. Cod stood at the side. Although she was expressionless, she was feeling very sullen inside. She had originally thought that the Middle Region Realm King would definitely be able to help her wash away her humiliation, but now she realized that she had been thinking too much. This time, not only had she been humiliated, but the Middle Region Realm King had also been humiliated. The entire Middle Region had suffered a huge humiliation. 2 days had passed. The sky above Clear Lake rippled slightly. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth gathered. Very soon, Emperor Mui's silhouette appeared. Just like before, only the silhouette could be seen. The Middle Stage Realm King and Cod hurriedly knelt down. Emperor Mui said coldly, "What's the matter? This subordinate is willing to die." The Middle Stage Realm King first begged for forgiveness. Then, he recounted everything that had happened previously. He did not exaggerate, nor did he bluff. He was simply narrating the facts objectively. If he tried to hide anything in front of a Master God, he would be courting death. It was too easy for a Master God to check his soul. He wouldn't even notice. Emperor Mui listened quietly. Because he couldn't see his face, he couldn't tell what expression he had. After the middle stage Realm King finished, he bowed again and said, Emperor Mui, this subordinate is useless. I have failed Emperor Xing and you. This subordinate is willing to die. Emperor Mui was silent. After 10 breaths of time, Emperor Mui said, Don't provoke him for now. Wait for Emperor Xing to come out. After all, there are only a few hundred years left. What you need to do during this time is to train a large number of subordinates and monitor the entire great world for me. I want you to control the situation of all the realms in the great world. Wait for Emperor Xing to come out and annihilate that be *TCH's faction. Understood. The middle stage Realm King was relieved. As long as he didn't have to risk his life, it would be easy to set up an intelligence network that covered all the realms in the great world. There were still a few hundred years left. It was enough for him to set it up. He didn't even need to use the power of the celestial domain. He only needed the power of the middle stage. As long as he hid at Qinghu, he would be absolutely safe. There was a formation here that Emperor Mui built himself. This was to prevent Empress Yen from killing the middle stage Realm King. With this formation, it was impossible for Lu Li to kill him. He just needed to stay here and set up an intelligence network. Then, he would wait for Emperor Xing to come out. On the other side, Emperor Mui thought about it and said one more thing. After you set up the intelligence network, do a secret investigation. Record everything that is related to Empress Yen. I would rather kill the wrong person than let them go. This time, when Emperor Xing comes out, he will rule the world. We will find a way to restore the realms above the fourth heaven. From now on, you or your descendants will be in charge of the 7 heavens of the great world. Thank you, Emperor Mui. The middle stage Realm King knelt to express his gratitude. Ka was also excited. When Emperor Xing came out and killed Empress Yen, Emperor Xing would be the master of all realms. As a master, he couldn't interfere with the management of the realms below him. Then, their family would become the manager of the great world. If the realms above the fourth heaven could be restored, then the great world would be a complete one. Their family would be able to enjoy glory for generations to come. The middle stage Realm King had great confidence in Emperor Xing. This wasn't blind worship. He knew Emperor Xing very well. The Xing Di had cultivated from a mortal to a main god, while many main gods were born from the world. They were very powerful. Originally, the Xing Di was the weakest among the main gods, but the 2 main god battles had been instigated by him. Every time, a large number of overgods would die, but the Punisher Emperor would always be able to survive. Now, only the Flame Empress and another overgod were left. There were still 4 overgods on their side. The difference in strength was just too great. For 100 years, the middle stage Realm King waited for Emperor Mui's shadow to disappear. He took a deep breath and said, 400 years will pass in the blink of an eye. By then, the entire world will be changed. Empress Yin and Lu Li, in 400 years you will die. Third Master. Chapter 3809. Lu Li didn't go to the immortal region, nor did he go after warriors of the 8 galaxies. It was pointless. His priority now was to reach the realm of an almighty god. Nothing else mattered. He spent more than a year to gather all the disciples of the god of death and the Lu Alliance. Then he asked the leaders to put them into interspatial artifacts and brought them to the Flame Empress universe. The god of death had millions of disciples, and the Lu Alliance had more than 100,000. It seemed a lot, but it was easy to settle them at the Half-Crescent Land. The Half-Crescent Land was larger than the Heaven-Crossing universe. It could accommodate billions of warriors, let alone millions. That being said, the warriors would have to ask for some cultivation resources from the Lu family after they came in. This was not a big deal. As long as they could win, they could leave. If they couldn't win, they might all die. In that case, cultivation resources would be of no use. Lu Li didn't worry too much. He asked Emperor of Wings and Emperor of Feather to set up an advanced law enforcement team. Anyone who left the Half-Crescent Land without his order would be killed. Emperor of Wings and Emperor of Feather took this seriously. They started to build rune formations around the Half-Crescent Land. They could at least sense warriors leaving the rune formations if they didn't seal off the half-crescent land. They must try their best to accomplish Lu Li's orders and not drag him down. Lu Li went to meet the Asmodean, but didn't see Zishi. Zishi must still be figuring out the ways of an almighty god and improving her abilities. A newly ascended overlord wouldn't be able to unleash his abilities without 100 years of training. Zishi's abilities were not great. Lu Li didn't think she could defeat any of the overlords. Of the 3 overlords here, the Asmodean should be able to fight, or else he would have died a long time ago. The fact that the Emperor of Punisher didn't come out was proof that Emperor's flame was strong. Otherwise, Emperor of Punisher wouldn't have to do anything. Lu Li had doubts about the abilities of the other 2 overlords. Chinya and Zishi were needless to say. The other one was injured in the head. His IQ was like that of child. How strong could he be? Lu Li was worried. Even if he could make the breakthrough in the 400 years, he couldn't be that strong. 4 against 4. The Asmodean was not a match for Emperor of Punisher. The 3 of them couldn't defeat the 3 overlords. The outcome would still be miserable. No matter how miserable it would be, Lu Li would try his best. He had no way out. When Emperor of Punisher came out from cultivation, the Flame Empress universe might not be safe. Even if they cut off the connection with the outside world, would they be safe? Not necessarily. Don't be too stressed. Noticing that Lu Li was frowning, the Demon Lord said, "Man proposes, God disposes. Everything has its own rules and rules. If we are destined to die, then no matter how much we struggle, it's useless. We'll just do our best. We'll leave the rest to God." "All right," Lu Li nodded. He thought about it and said, "Lord, over the years, I have learned many things. But I feel it is messy and I cannot make sense of it." It felt hazy. He could vaguely feel the ceiling, but he couldn't see through it, let alone pierce through it. If this goes on, I'm afraid that even 400 years won't be enough. I have a feeling that I should be able to break through to become a master god, but I'm not sure how long it will take. What if it takes tens of thousands of years? Is that so? The Demon Lord thought about it. She thought about it and said, "Ask Astro Emperor to come in." Lu Li went out and soon came back with Astro Emperor. The Demon Lord said, "Astro Emperor will take you to the 4th, 5th, and 6th heaven. All the universes there have collapsed, but there are signs of battles between master gods in many places. There are some dilapidated palaces where master gods once lived. Maybe they can help you. Don't go to the 7th heaven. The entire space there has collapsed. It is too dangerous. You will die for sure." "What?" Lu Li's eyes glowed. He remembered what he saw in the calligraphy in Queen Ice's study. Somehow he had an idea. He said, "Okay, thank you, Astro Emperor. Be careful. Do not force your way in if there is danger." The Demon Lord waved her hand and added, "In 400 years, if you have not reached the Master God level, then don't come back. I will find a way to send the Flame Empress universe to Shumi Void. When you reach the Master God level, you can go and find the Flame Empress universe. If you are confident, then help us get revenge. If not, then continue to cultivate." "What?" Lu Li and Astro Emperor looked at each other. They were about to say something when the Demon Lord waved his hand and said, "Okay, enough. Time is of the essence. Let's go." "Yes." Lu Li said nothing more. He flew away with Astro Emperor. He went back to the Half-Luna land and stayed for 3 days. He spent 3 days with his wives and concubines. Then, he left with Astro Emperor. When they left the Flame Empress universe, Lu Li asked Astro Emperor to stop. He looked back at the space-time tunnel and took a deep breath. He had mixed feelings. The trip to the 4th, 5th, and 6th heaven would not be too dangerous, but there were so many relics and traces of battles. However, there were so many ruins and so many traces of battle. He didn't know how many years it would take for him to finish looking through them all. If he did not make the breakthrough, he might not be able to come back in 400 years. When Emperor of Punisher came out from cultivation, the Demon Lord would send the Flame Empress universe to Shumi Void. Maybe he would not come back. Coming back would not change anything. Apart from committing suicide, it would be meaningless. He might as well stay alive and help them get revenge. Revenge. Lu Li's heart skipped a beat at the thought of this. At that point, the demon lord would die, Zishi would die, and so would the chief immortal Gallo. The Flame Empress universe might be found, and everyone there would die. However, he and Astro Emperor could only hide in the fourth or fifth heaven and cultivate for years. Lu Li's breaths were shortened at the thought of that. He bit his teeth and swore to himself that he must reach the chief immortal level in the 400 years. Even if he had just reached it, he would be able to put up a fight. He would rather fight to the death with the demon lord and the others than hide in the fourth or fifth heaven to cultivate like a coward. Let's go. Astro Emperor waved his hand. They boarded the Spectre and flew toward the north. Several months later, they arrived at the Dark World. Lu Li's power of creation was transformed by absorbing energy from the Dark World. He was not in a hurry to go to the fourth heaven. Instead, he went to the Dark World again. There was more energy in his realm of magic. He wanted to turn it all into the power of creation. First, he went to the Void Realm to absorb more divine energy. Then, he went to the Spring Sun region next to it and finally to the Dark World. After more than a year here, the energy in Lu Li's realm of magic had all been transformed into the power of creation. Let's go to the fourth heaven. Lu Li waved his hand, and the Spectre ship flew over quickly. Astro Emperor said, Lu Li, back then, the void in the fourth heaven collapsed. Therefore, there are many strange energies and many dangerous places. Don't try to show off. Just follow me. I know many places where there are traces of battles between the chief immortals and broken palaces of the chief immortals. Okay, Lu Li nodded. Nothing could be better since Astro Emperor knew so much. He didn't have to wander around and waste time. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3810. In a part of the void, a battleship was flying fast. The battleship was not flying in a straight line. Instead, it was circling around. There were rocks of different sizes everywhere. There were huge spatial vortexes in many places, as well as countless spatial black holes. If the void of the third heavenly layer was a beautiful painting, then the void of the fourth heavenly layer was a tattered rag with thousands of holes. Lu Li and the others had been here for a month. None of the universes were intact. There were rocks of the void, space swirls, black holes, turbulence, wind, and black fog everywhere. According to Astro Emperor, during the Battle of the Overgods, not only were the universes here broken, but the void here was also broken, which caused the space to collapse. Since the void of the fourth heaven had collapsed, there were no intact universes here and no living beings. These void waste rocks were actually the products left behind after the plane was shattered. The fourth heaven was vast. Astro Emperor said that any one of the universes here was larger than the immortal region. The largest one was as large as 100 immortal region. Unfortunately, all of them had collapsed. Lu Li wandered around for a month. He didn't find any Xianxi in the void. Everywhere was barren and broken. This was a dangerous place. Strange energy would sweep over from time to time. Some places were horrifying even from a distance. Lu Li had the power of creation, but he didn't dare to wander around recklessly. He was not an overgod who could go anywhere. Astro Emperor must have been here more than once. Astro Emperor said that he had been here in search of opportunities and had explored many places. He had wandered around the fourth heaven many times. He knew where not to go, where he could go, and where he could not stay for long. Not even the Asmodeans were as familiar with these places as he was. Over the years, Astro Emperor had been at the fourth, fifth, and sixth heaven for more than 100,000 years. How could he not know? There is a relic of the battle between the overgods up ahead. Astro Emperor said after they traveled for another 10 days. Lu Li opened his eyes. His eyes glowed. The place where the overgods fought. Judging by Astro Emperor's tone, the traces of the battle must still be evident. Maybe Lu Li could learn something. After flying for 2 days, Lu Li saw 2 huge pieces of rubble. These 2 pieces of rubble should have been one, because there was a place where the 2 boulders were connected. It was just that compared to the size of the 2 boulders, the place where they were connected was too small, so it felt like there were two boulders. Luli used psychic power to check. His heart skipped a beat as he sensed many traces of battles on the two huge rocks. There were some clear palm prints, and he could faintly feel the strong Taoist rhyme. There's no danger here. You can comprehend as you please. Astro Emperor waved his hand. Luli could not sit still any longer. He landed on the abandoned rock in the void. First, he took a look around to figure out the situation. This was clearly a world that had collapsed and evolved for many years, turning into a void of rubble. There were clear signs of attack on it. Terrifying. Luli saw a clear handprint, a huge handprint with a diameter of more than 3,000 miles. Clearly, the handprint was made from a distance. Luli wondered how far away the handprint was. The world collapsed mainly because of this handprint. Luli could still feel the impact from the handprint. Luli imagined a scene where two almighty immortals were fighting in the void. One of them would slap and the other would dodge. The handprint whooshed on and landed on a world. That world exploded, but the handprint did not fall apart. The handprint continued to fly on. Several more worlds were smashed. In the end, the energy of the handprint dissipated in this one. The world was smashed, but it did not explode. Therefore, a clear handprint was left. That is horrifying. Luli was taken aback. The almighty immortals were horrifying. How could the force of a world be so strong? Luli's force of creation was strong as well. If he could gather a large amount of force of creation, he could smash a world in the Dipper universe. That being said, compared to an almighty immortal's attack, it was still a far cry. Luli walked up and down on the deserted rock. He noticed that there were some other attacks from other almighty immortals. They must be the impact of the impact, which was why there were some marks left. Luli walked around for a while. Eventually, he sat down next to the handprint and began to meditate. Astro Emperor did not come. He sat on the Spectre ship. Luli had studied this place several times. Apart from the improvement in his abilities, it did not help him reach the almighty immortal. He knew that it was impossible for him to do so in this lifetime. Deep down, he had given up. Therefore, there was no need to go on. Luli did not think too much. He focused on studying. Nothing was more important than him reaching the almighty immortal. Now that Lu Meng and the Disciples of Death had gone to the Flame Empress universe, he had nothing to worry about. Most of the civilians at the Middle Realm had gone to the Second Heaven to hide. Luli didn't have to worry about that. If the Middle Realm King was crazy enough to go to the Middle Realm, there was nothing he could do. Luli cultivated here for 6 years. He learned something, but just like before, it was a mess. It could not help him reach the almighty immortal. After he came out, he used the third eye to check. The Middle Realm King was behaving in the immortal region and the 8 galaxies were peaceful. Then he asked Astro Emperor to take him to the next place. The Middle Realm King appeared to be behaving. Many warriors were still talking about the battle at the Heaven Dipper universe, but he ignored them. He even ordered his subordinates not to do anything and let them say whatever they wanted. The Middle Realm King began to make arrangements. He personally asked about the matter and guided every step. As the person in charge, Lady Cod mobilized 30 patriarchs to oversee the matter. They secretly mobilized a group of experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm in the Middle Realm. They controlled this group of experts and had them split up to control a group of Saint Emperors, and that group of Saint Emperors would then split up to control a group of emperors. This was not a relationship of superior and subordinate, but direct control of souls. This way, complete secrecy could be ensured, and there would be no possibility of betrayal. Control was carried out layer by layer. After 6 years, the initial stage of the arrangement was completed. Each Saint Emperor was in charge of an area. Various intelligence networks began to be built. It was just an intelligence network, and it did not need to be complicated. For example, in the Chaotic Star region, 1 or 2 scouts were enough. Then, with the strength and wealth of the Middle Realm, they could buy over some scouts and spies. It was easy to set up this kind of arrangement. 50 years. The Middle Realm King gave a strict order. Within 50 years, the intelligence network covering all the universes of the great world must be successfully built. Chapter 38:11. There was no need for 50 years. In a mere 40 years, the Middle Region Realm King's intelligence network had already been laid out, and it had been laid out silently. Not even the Immortal Region had received any news of this. The 8 major galaxies were somewhat aware of it. After all, the 8 major galaxies had secretly mobilized many warriors. However, they only guessed that there were large clans in the Immortal Region secretly stirring up trouble. As for the specifics, they did not know, nor did they dare to investigate. In addition, after the establishment of the intelligence network, the Middle Region Realm King did not make any moves. He only had the warriors in the intelligence network conceal themselves, and used the Middle Region Realm King's resources to conceal themselves deeper and deeper, making it harder to detect any problems in the future. This intelligence network was mainly used to monitor the situation, not to deal with the lower powers, nor would it cause any damage. Therefore, after a period of time, the warriors in the intelligence network would conceal themselves even deeper, and then no one would be able to detect them. The Middle Region Realm King was very satisfied with Miss Cod's execution ability. Since the initial construction was successful, he did not want to interfere with the follow-up. He left it to Miss Cod to handle. In any case, there was still 350 years before crossing D came out of seclusion, so there was no need to be too anxious. In the next 300 years, with Miss Cod's ability, if this intelligence network continued to operate, it would be easy for Miss Cod to find out how heavy the son of a young master of a large clan was. The Middle Region Realm King continued to leisurely spend his days beside the clear lake, leaving everything to Miss Cod. This Miss Cod's strength might not be able to break through to the Great Perfection Realm, but her ability to handle matters was top-notch. The Middle Region Realm King completely delegated authority to her, and the affairs of the entire Middle Region were managed by her. The various regions of the Immortal Region also calmed down. The Northern Region and the Southern Region were in chaos for a while, but they soon calmed down. 2 Great Perfection Realm warriors had ascended, and the Southern Region was still a Great Perfection Realm warrior of the Yu family. Because of the matter between Lu Li and the Middle Region Realm King, the Immortal Region did not dare to be chaotic anymore. Many large clans tried to keep a low profile. They knew that the real war would soon break out, and the more low-key they were, the better. Otherwise, when the time came, their clans might be destroyed. Many large clans began to mobilize their elite warriors to conceal themselves in some secret realms, and they were very scattered. They were even scattered to some secret realms of the second heaven, and some clans even sent their armies to the realms of the first heaven. They guessed that the war would break out in a few hundred years, and it would be a super terrifying war between main gods. By then, if things were to end up like the last 2 sovereign battles, he would be finished. The celestial domain would probably collapse, and the 8 great star domains might also be crippled. If it was even more serious, the entire third heaven might collapse and become a land of death. Therefore, even though the spiritual chi in the first and second heaven's mystic realms was very weak, they still sent their elites over. It didn't matter if he cultivated slowly, or if he hid there for a few hundred years. It didn't matter. The most important thing was to survive the great war that was coming a few hundred years later. This should be the last major battle between overgods. After 2 major battles between overgods, there were not many overgods left to begin with. This time, they should be able to determine the victor completely and rule the world. After this battle, the overgods of one lineage would emerge victorious, while the overgods of the other lineage would be wiped out. At that time, there would be no more battles between the overgods, and the entire world would be at peace. That was why it was better to keep a low profile and preserve their strength during this period of time to tide over the calamity. What was the use of snatching territory and becoming a realm king now? When the war started, those realm kings would all be cannon fodder. Could it be that if the sovereign asked you to go out of battle, you would dare to not go out? If the overgod won, the realm kings would not be able to escape death. The 8 great star domains were keeping a low profile as well. Not only that, they were also in fear. The major families of the 8 great star domains did not know much. All they knew was that Luli had one, but they were on the side of the Middle Realm kings. It had been decades, and Luli didn't come to settle scores. That being said, they were still worried, fearing that one day, Luli would descend from the sky and kill them all. They had begun to make arrangements as well. They mobilized many warriors and their families to hide, and many resources were transferred away as well. At the very least, if something went wrong, their families would have a chance to rise again. They wouldn't be wiped out. Luli was still in the 4th heaven. The 4th heaven was vast, and there were too many traces of battles between the almighty gods. There were many palaces of the almighty gods, or other residences of the almighty gods, or places where they once lived. For average warriors, these were top secrets, but not for the Asmodean king. The Asmodean king had told Astro Emperor about it, and now Astro Emperor was showing Luli around as well. It had been decades, and Luli had never gone back. He had been here all this time. He had been to many places, observing dozens of battlefields and more than 10 palaces where the overgods once lived. He spent several years in each place. Soon, decades had passed. Thanks to the 3rd heaven, Luli knew the situation at the 3rd heaven like the back of his hand. He could check the Flame Queen universe easily. Sometimes he would talk to his wives and concubines to reassure them. The 3rd heaven was a good thing. He could check the entire world. As long as he knew the specific location, everything else was not a problem. Luli didn't gain much from staying in the 4th heaven for decades. Just like before, he learned many things. However, the more he learned, the more confused he became. He felt he was further away from a door. He didn't know how to deal with it. The Asmodean king didn't know how to become an overgod either. He had to figure it out on his own. After comprehending for a few hundred years, he could vaguely sense a door, but there were too many messy comprehensions in his mind. It felt like there were millions of paths, like a maze. He knew the door, but he couldn't find the way to it. Now that he had been studying at the 4th heaven for decades, he felt the door was getting clearer. That being said, he felt he was getting further and further away from the door. The maze was getting more and more complicated. It was as if he could never reach the door, push it open, or get out. Stop! Luli was afraid that if he went on like this, he would become more and more confused. He might even lose his mind. But what could he do if he stopped? 400 years would pass quickly. What would he do then? Time was moving on, and the pressure on his shoulders was increasing. His mind was strained. He was afraid that he might lose his mind before he reached the overgod level. Let's go. After some time, Luli decided to go on. Problems could easily arise if he kept on thinking. Whether he could make a breakthrough or not, there must be a glimmer of hope. Staying here would be pointless. What was more, he would be under more pressure. Let's go to the 5th heaven, Luli said to Astro Emperor. He had seen everything he needed to see at the 4th heaven. Going back and forth wouldn't do him much good. He might as well go to the 5th or 6th heaven. The Asmodean king had told him that it was too dangerous. Luli would die for sure. Let's go. Astro Emperor waved his hand. The Spectre ship flew away. Astro Emperor's mind was weighed down. At this rate, Luli might not be able to reach the overgod level. If he were to make the breakthrough when Emperor of Punisher was about to come out from cultivation, then it would be pointless. Luli was not that strong. An overgod would need decades to adapt to the breakthrough. Otherwise, how could he unleash the full potential of an overgod? Chapter 38:12. The 5th heaven was smaller than the 4th heaven, but the space here was larger. Of course, none of the universes were intact. All of them were shattered and the void was littered with rocks. Some of the void wastelands were even bigger than a small world, like a giant mountain that could support the heavens. The first sovereign war had been fought between the 7th and 6th heavens, and both the 7th and 6th heavens had been destroyed. In the second one, the 5th heaven and the 4th heaven collapsed as well. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many residences of the 4th heaven. Originally, the main immortals lived in the 7th heaven, and the average warriors were not allowed to go there. He had been in the 5th heaven for 80 years. He had explored many places and learned many things. But still, he couldn't walk out of that door. There were only 200 years left. Luli was getting more and more anxious, which made it harder for him to walk out of that door. It was a vicious cycle. He didn't go back to the Flame Empress universe because he was too ashamed to face the devil. The Flame Empress universe was peaceful. No warriors dared to mess around at the Half-Crescent land. The Half-Crescent city had been expanded, and all warriors had to live there. They could only go out with a Patriarch's token. Otherwise, they were not allowed to go beyond a radius of 300,000 miles. Anyone who dared to leave without permission would be killed without mercy. Everything was fine. The only thing that worried Lord Yun and Lu Ling was that Little White was still in cultivation. Little White had been in there for hundreds of years. Time flowed 1,000,000 times faster in there than in the outside world. That was to say, Little White had been cultivating for millions of years. Little White was about to reach the ultimate realm. It wouldn't take hundreds of years to cultivate. Of course, millions of years did not really mean millions of years had passed. Otherwise, Little White would have died a long time ago. Compared to the outside world, the cultivation time here might be longer than millions of years. Naturally, it couldn't be longer than that. There were advantages and disadvantages to cultivating in this kind of secret realm. The advantage was that it would feel like a long time had passed. In this way, it would be easier for one to learn something. The disadvantage was that after a long period of cultivation, one would feel numb and tired. The speed of learning would slow down, and it could even lead to mental disorder. Last time, the devil asked Lu Li if he needed to go into the secret realm to study for a while. Lu Li turned it down. With how poor his mental state was right now, it was very easy for him to lose his mind if he entered a secret realm like this. Let alone becoming an overgod, he would probably become insane after spending a few decades in there. Lu Li found it strange as well, and he was worried. Blood Emperor would go in every once in a while to check on Little White, but nothing happened. His body was in good condition, but he didn't have a strong aura. It didn't look like he had broken through the Great Perfection realm. He had been in seclusion for such a long time, yet he still hadn't broken through to the Great Perfection realm. Lu Li didn't know what had happened to Little White, but he didn't have the mind to care. As long as Little White was fine, everything else was not a big deal. It was better for Xiao Bai to be in seclusion, lest it cause trouble everywhere on the Half-Moon Land and angered the great Demon King. Zixi had returned to the Half-Moon Land. She didn't reveal the aura of a Lord God, and her character hadn't changed much. She stayed within Lu'er and by Xiaoshuang all day long. She didn't look like a Lord God at all. On the other hand, Lu Li didn't realize that the Asmodean was an almighty god. If an almighty god wanted to hide it, he would be no different from an average warrior. Go to the sixth heaven, Lu Li said to Astro Emperor after he spent several years in the last place. Astro Emperor didn't show any emotion, but he was disappointed. Lu Li had been at the fourth or fifth heaven for more than 100 years, but there was no limit. Could he do it the sixth heaven? The sixth heaven was the last place. He could not go to the seventh heaven. If he could not reach the sixth heaven, then Lu Li wouldn't be able to do so anytime soon. By then, the Asmodean would have to fight with Zixi and Garuda. How strong could Zixi and Garuda be? Astro Emperor didn't have much hope. Astro Emperor had high hopes for Lu Li. Lu Li had fought his way up from a mortal being to the divinity to the second heaven, and then to the third heaven. Lu Li's journey had been bumpy, but his abilities had been improving. This was not only about realms, but also about his abilities. Lu Li had a remarkable record. Wherever he went, he could turn the world upside down. In the end, he could still stand at the top. This was what it meant to be capable. The Asmodean was strong, but she didn't have as much experience as Lu Li. It seemed that the Asmodean had fought many times, but she didn't have many fights with warriors of the same realm. She lost more often than she won. When the Asmodean fought with average warriors, no matter how many times they fought, the Asmodean's abilities wouldn't improve much. Back in the days, the Asmodean had to disguise herself, suppress her abilities, and wander around in order to improve her abilities. Unfortunately, she didn't gain much. She wasn't fighting with warriors of the same realm. She didn't experience life and death. She didn't walk the line between life and death. Astro Emperor had high hopes for Luli because he was a man who could create miracles. If Luli could reach the level of an almighty, then they would have a chance to win. If he couldn't, then no matter how hard he struggled, the Asmodean would die. Neither would Garuda nor Thousand Leaves. Let's go. Astro Emperor didn't say much. He took Luli to the boundary markers of the 5th and 6th heaven on the Spectre ship. They found an entrance and entered the 6th heaven. Previously, it was difficult to enter the 6th heaven from the 5th heaven. Now, it was no longer a problem. Both the 5th and 6th heaven had collapsed. Many boundary markers were damaged. Now, there were more entrances and exits. What? Luli took a look after he entered the 6th heaven. He asked in surprise. The boundary of the 6th heaven didn't collapse. Luli saw a huge land in the distance. It was dark, and he couldn't see the edge. How could such a large land be a piece of trash? Star Emperor said with a wry smile. It collapsed. There are only a few big realms in the entire 6th heaven, and each realm is as big as 1,000 immortal domains. Although this realm has been destroyed, it's not the same as the realms below. Some of them were split into 2 pieces, some into 3 or 4 pieces. But they are not completely destroyed. But because the worlds are broken, the boundary markers on the inside and outside are destroyed. The natural formations inside are damaged. Naturally, they cannot gather Xian-Qi in heaven and earth. So, they have become deserted. Let's go and have a look. Luli waved his hand. The battleship whooshed across the huge land. Luli used psychic power to check. Soon, he was taken aback. There were ruins in many places. Deserted cities covered the sky and the earth. Luli could not see the end of them. Among the ruins, he could see glistening bones everywhere. From the ruins, he could tell the prosperity of this world. There must have been countless powerful cultivators in this world. Any one of them could have hundreds of millions of warriors. They must have been saint emperors. Desolation, and vicissitudes. Luli stood on the deck and gazed down. An idea came to his mind. The 6th heaven was already so vast. It was said that there was only one main world in the 7th heaven. How vast must that world be? Should I go to the 7th heaven and have a look? Luli had an idea. The 7th heaven was where the chief immortals lived and were born. Many chief immortals were born in the 7th heaven. Maybe he could learn something in the 7th heaven and become a chief immortal? Remember the mobile website. Chapter 38:13. Luli could not stop himself from thinking about it. He didn't even want to stay in the 6th heaven anymore. The 7th-stage geniuses were where the sovereigns lived. That was the true core, and that was where many sovereigns were born. Since Lord gods could be born there, there must be many magical places there. Going there for a few months would probably be more effective than going to the 6th layer of heaven for tens of thousands of years. Luli couldn't help but say after some thoughts, Astro Emperor, I want to go to the 7th heaven and have a look. 7th heaven? Star Emperor raised his eyebrows and said coldly, Are you crazy? Anyone who goes there will die. Even adults might encounter danger there. Do you want to court death? Luli also knew that the 7th heaven was dangerous. Otherwise, the Demon King wouldn't have warned him in person. After a moment of hesitation, Luli said, I have a feeling that if I go to the 7th heaven, I will have a great chance to become an overgod. Break through my ass. Star Emperor glared at him and said, You'll die as soon as you go in. How can you break through to the Lord God level? Don't even think about it. I won't take you there. There's only one entrance to the 7th heaven. If I don't take you there, you won't be able to find it even if you search for 1,000 years. If you don't believe me, you can go look for it yourself. Only Star Emperor would dare to say this. If Blood Emperor was here, Blood Emperor would definitely not dare to say it. Luli didn't know what to do after hearing Astro Emperor's words. He could not go to the 7th heaven without Astro Emperor's help. He hesitated for a while and got rid of that thought. The Astral Emperor was right. He might die immediately if he went to the 7th heavenly layer. How could he break through to Overgod if he died? Forget it. I'll meditate for a period of time in the 6th firmament. Luli forced himself to calm down. He followed Astro Emperor down to the land. He first went to a ruined city. All the buildings in the city had collapsed, but he could still roughly distinguish the shape of the buildings. He could deduce the original shape of the giant city. Luli wandered around the city and found a mountain outside the city. This mountain had collapsed as well. Luli found a dilapidated palace among the ruins. This palace was once the temporary residence of an overgod. Luli didn't touch anything in the temporary residence. He sat in the ruins and began to study. After sitting here for over 7 years, Luli and Astro Emperor left. They continued to look for traces of battles between the almighty gods and other places where they once lived. There were only a few large realms here, and all of them had been destroyed. Therefore, compared to the 4th and 5th layers of heaven, it was easier to find them. There were more battle traces and palaces where the master gods lived. Back then, the master gods mostly lived in the 7th heaven, but they would occasionally come to live in the 6th heaven. Naturally, there would be some things left in the palaces where they lived, some traces that could only be sensed but not described. These marks were of no use to average warriors, but they were useful to Luli. Because Luli was not far away from the main god, he had already sensed the door. It was just that he couldn't find the way in. To become a sovereign, world energy was the key. As long as one was able to nurture world energy, one would become a sovereign. Luli had absorbed a lot of energy. Still, the Dharma realm could not generate energy from a world. In that case, Luli was left with the second option, which was to let the small world mutate and turn it into an overgod's realm of Dharma. In this way, it would be possible to breed the energy of the world. How to make the small world mutate? That was the problem. Luli could not control the changes in the small world. In the past, the small world had mutated on its own. Luli couldn't control it. Therefore, Luli felt there was no other way. He had to go around to study and explore. There were only a few realms in the 6th heaven, but there were many battle traces in those realms. There were many places where the overgods had lived. As such, Luli stayed here for a little longer. He had been studying at the 6th heaven for 120 years. 120 years had passed. There were only 100 years left before Emperor of Punisher would come out from cultivation. Also, Emperor of Punisher said that he would come out in 1,000 years. Who could say if he would come out earlier? What if he came out 100 years earlier? That was to say, from now on, Emperor of Punisher could come out at any time. But Luli still had not reached the level of an overgod. Luli was on the verge of losing his mind. All these years, he had been under great pressure. As time went by, the pressure grew and his mind became more and more depressed. He was on the verge of a breakdown. Even so, he had to force himself to calm down and study the battle traces left by the overgods. In this vicious cycle, the demons in his mind were growing stronger. His mind was on the verge of collapse. Phew. In a cave of ruins, Luli took a deep breath. He shook his head and stopped studying. Without a care for his image, he lay on his back in the ruins. His mind was exhausted. He felt like his mind had become a melting pot. All kinds of thoughts filled his mind. He tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. After several days and nights, Luli finally fell into a deep sleep. Even in his dreams, he could not rest. His eyebrows were knitted together, and he tossed and turned. The atmosphere in the immortal region had become strange. The higher-ups knew that Emperor of Punisher could come out from cultivation at any time. Once he did, the third battle of the overgods would break out. In the first 2 battles, the 7th heaven, the 6th heaven, the 5th heaven, and the 4th heaven were destroyed. Would this battle of chief gods destroy the immortal region and the 8-star regions? If the immortal region and the 8 galaxies were destroyed, they would all have to flee to the 2nd heaven. The spiritual energy in the realms of the 2nd heaven was very thin. Warriors who went to the 2nd heaven would have a hard time. There would be fewer resources and thinner spiritual energy. It would be much more difficult for powerful warriors to be born. By that time, it would be a problem for even a few Saint Kings to be born, let alone completion. The higher-ups knew a little. Naturally, the news would spread. However, the people at the lower levels did not know the specifics. As the news continued to spread, The people at the lower levels did not know what would happen. They could only vaguely feel that the atmosphere was getting heavier. It was as if something huge was about to happen. The intelligence network had been set up. Now, every move of the world was under the surveillance of the Middle Realm kings. The major forces of all the realms had been infiltrated. Through the major forces of the realms, even the slightest movement in the realms would be known. For this reason, Lady Cod had hired hundreds of warriors to handle all kinds of information day and night. Flame Empress Realm, Heavenly Demon City. The atmosphere here had also become oppressive. As the time approached, they all knew that Emperor of Punisher could come out at any time. When the battle started, it was very likely that they would lose. It was still unknown whether the Flame Empress Realm could be saved or not. Little White had not come out yet. This made the great demon king speechless. She personally went in and didn't find any clues. Little White's body was in good condition. Its aura was about the same as when it went in. It looked like it was taking a nap or in seclusion. No one knew what it was doing. Sigh. After checking for a while, the great demon king did not care anymore. She floated away and returned to the pavilion. Chief God Jia Luo was sitting in the pavilion, munching on a spirit fruit. Seeing Chief God Jia Luo like that, the great demon king's heart sank even more. If they were defeated, the others might have a chance to survive. However, Jia Luo and Zishi would not. Emperor of Punisher would not let the other chief gods live and leave behind endless troubles. Defeat? The great demon king had no confidence at all. She did not even have a 10% chance of winning. Chapter 38:14. Luli slept for a few days. When he woke up, he was in a better state of mind. However, he was still under great pressure, like a taut string. He had been taut for hundreds of years. How could there be no problems? Luli had explored most of the sixth heaven and studied many places for a long time. He had learned many things again. His mind was in a mess. In the past, there were thousands of things to think about, but now there were hundreds of thousands. He would be fine as long as he didn't think about it. But once he did, he felt his head was going to explode. The problem was that Emperor of Punishment was about to come out, but Luli still couldn't reach the main god. How could he not think about it? Reaching the main god was the most important thing. It was imminent. What else could he think about other than this? He sat with his legs crossed and took a deep breath. Instead of focusing on the miscellaneous things in his mind, he began to sort out what he had experienced over the years. 1,000 years had passed, and more than 800 years had passed. He had been working hard, very hard. He didn't care about anything else. He didn't go to the Central King universe for revenge or spend time with his family. He didn't do anything. For hundreds of years, he had been trying to reach the main god. Over the years, he had been to many places, absorbed a lot of energy, seen many strange small worlds, and even went to the fourth, fifth, and sixth heaven. He had seen so much and seen so much, but it was all for naught. He still couldn't reach the main god. The only good thing was that the power of everything he refined in the realm of Dharma had improved his abilities. The more he learned, the further away he felt he was from the main god. He had a feeling that under normal circumstances, he might never reach the main god. If he studied in the fourth, fifth, sixth heaven, or those small worlds, he might not be able to make the breakthrough, even after tens of thousands of years. He pondered for a while and realized that he only had two paths to take. He could either hide for tens of thousands of years, cultivate secretly, study slowly, and wait for the day he could make the breakthrough. Or he could take the risk and go to the seventh heaven. That was right. After studying for more than 100 years, he had an obsession in his mind. He wanted to go to the seventh heaven and have a look. He had been suppressing this obsession, but it popped up again and again. He knew very well that going to the seventh heaven was very likely to result in death. Even the probability of death was as high as 90%. However, it was still difficult for him to suppress this crazy idea in his mind. If you don't go crazy, you won't survive. Under normal circumstances, how could it be called an unconventional move? Under normal circumstances, how could a Saint Emperor break through to over God? If he continued to comprehend like this, he might not be able to make a breakthrough even after tens of thousands of years. Even if he did make a breakthrough after tens of thousands of years. By then, the great demon king would be dead, chief god Gallo would be dead, and Shinya Zishi would be dead. Or perhaps, if everyone in the Flame Empress realm died, what was the point of him living? In addition, would he be able to hide for tens of thousands of years? What if the Punishment Emperor and the others found him? A main god's ability was so abnormal. If a main god was determined to find someone, how could he hide? Luli thought about it for 2 hours and decided to take the risk. He had a certain level of confidence in the power of the world. He had a vague feeling that only by going to the 7th heavenly layer would he be able to escape death and become an overgod. The 7th heaven was the place where sovereigns were born. It was the very core of the entire world. He had the celestial eye, so he was very clear about the structure of this world. This world was centered around the 7th heaven, and there were many circles around it. The 7th heaven was a supreme treasure land, and even if it was destroyed, there would still be many strange existences. I will go to the 7th heaven. Luli made up his mind. He was not a wishy-washy man. When he made up his mind, nobody could persuade him otherwise. He used the third eye. At first, he scanned the immortal region and the 8 galaxies. Then, he went to the Flame Empress realm and checked on Little White. He talked to his wives and concubines, Lu Renhuang, Shinya Zishi, and even in Luer for a while. He didn't mention that he was going to the 7th heaven. He only said that he was cultivating outside and could not come back anytime soon. He asked everyone to listen to the Great Demon King's arrangement. This time, he didn't tell the Great Demon King. He put away the third eye and found Astro Emperor who was sitting nearby. Astro Emperor opened his eyes and saw Luli coming. He asked, "Are you going somewhere else?" There are not many places left in the 6th heaven. Only 7 or 8. No. Luli shook his head. He looked to a direction and said with determination, "Astro Emperor, I want to go to the 7th heaven." Astro Emperor looked at Luli without saying anything, emotionlessly. Luli bowed and said, "Please, Astro Emperor, I want to have a try." "No," Astro Emperor said decisively. "Go by yourself if you want to. You can find the entrance. That is your ability. I will not bear this infamy. When my lord and your people come to me for me, I won't even be able to bring my body back." Astro Emperor. Luli sighed and said, "Emperor of Punisher can come out at any time, in 100 years at the latest. Can my lord, Lord Garuda, and Zishi stop him? Do you want to see my lord die? I don't know if my lord will die or not." Astro Emperor said with determination, "But you will die in the 7th heaven. You can die, but not in such a worthless way. Luli, the 7th heaven is not as simple as you think. Let me put it this way. That is the place where almighty immortals are nurtured. That is the core of the world. After that place collapsed, many horrifying things happened. My lord once took me there, but we were at the border. If it weren't for my lord, I would have died instantly. You have the power of everything, but don't think that it is the most powerful force in the world. When you fought against the Middle Realm Masters, your power of everything was shattered by the almighty artifact. Therefore, it is not as strong as you think. You will die instantly in there, no exception." Luli frowned at Astro Emperor's words. He thought about it and said with determination, "Astro Emperor, I have no other choice. I don't think I can reach the almighty immortal realm in tens of thousands of years if I cultivate under normal circumstances. If my lord and the others die, are you sure that Emperor of Punisher will give us time to cultivate and plot in secret? Can the 4th heaven, the 5th heaven, or the 6th heaven hide people? Are you sure that Emperor of Punisher can't get an almighty artifact like Third Eye? Also, the almighty immortals are determined to find me. It won't be hard for them to find us." Also, Luli emphasized, "You have watched me grow up. You should know that people like me grow slowly when things are going well. Only by taking an unconventional path can I improve my abilities. Others will die in the 7th heaven, but I won't. As long as I survive, there is a high chance that I can reach the almighty immortal realm. Also, since the 7th heaven is so terrifying, if I can reach the almighty immortal realm of the 7th heaven, then my abilities will not be so weak. our chances of winning will be much higher. Trust me, Astro Emperor. Luli bowed deeply again. His eyes glowed with determination and madness. He said, "Since I have come this far, I believe I can go on. I must win this battle." Astro Emperor looked into Lu Li's eyes. He said nothing for the time, for one incense stick to burn. Finally, he sighed and said, "If you insist, then try it." Chapter 38:15. The seventh heaven was also known as the heaven of chaos. There was only one universe, the universe of chaos. This was a forbidden area for immortals. Regular warriors could not set foot in here. Back in the day, only a small number of supreme warriors had the right to set foot in here. Very few people knew about this place. During the first war of the chief gods, this place collapsed, and this place became a legend. Even Astro Emperor had limited knowledge of this place, because it had already collapsed when he was following the Demon King. One thing was certain, all the chief gods were born here. Apart from the 3 chief gods who cultivated later, the other chief gods were all born in the immemorial realm. It was said that this was the first realm to be born in the entire great world. There were countless divine medicines, powerful and ferocious beasts, and peerlessly beautiful sceneries. This was the real immortal realm, the paradise of the main gods. The chief gods that were born here all stood aloof from worldly affairs. They lived a peaceful life and regarded all living beings as nobodies. The peace was broken when Emperor of Punisher and the other 2 made the breakthrough. Emperor of Punisher and the other 2 were ambitious and ambitious. They successfully stirred up conflicts and divided the chief gods into 3 groups, which led to the first war of the chief gods. The first war of the chief gods was the most tragic. The universe of chaos was broken, and the void of the 7th heaven collapsed as well. The former paradise, a land of treasures that nurtured many chief gods, had become the most horrifying and dangerous place in the world. The chief gods fell one by one and became a speck of dust in the history. Luli was standing in the dust, and he was all by himself. Astro Emperor was still waiting for him in the barrier, afraid to come in. Luli stood at the edge, gazing into the dusky sky and sensing the old and lonely energy. He was excited. The forbidden area of immortals, the paradise of the chief gods. In history, less than 100 warriors could reach the forbidden area of immortals. Luli, a young man from the mortal world, was fortunate enough to reach the 7th heaven. This could be considered unprecedented, right? Emperor of Punisher and the others were born in the 4th or 5th heaven. Outside Lu Li's body were 2 layers of armor and a shield of light. He could not afford to be careless. Astro Emperor said that he almost died in an instant. He came here to search for opportunities, not to throw his life away. He stood in place and looked around, sensing everything around him. He held his breath and observed the situation. This was a place that even the sky I couldn't explore. Star Emperor only took a glance at the edge. As for what was inside, except for the great Demon King and the others, no one else knew. He didn't dare to use the 3rd eye to contact the great Demon King. He guessed that the great Demon King wouldn't be able to help him even if he used sound transmission. He could only rely on himself. 1 incense sticks time, 2 incense sticks time. Whoosh! In the distance, a beam of black light flew over at high speed. It was a huge mass of black mist, and it looked like a dragon that was tens of thousands of miles long. Moreover, it was flying straight towards him. That thing seemed to have sensed his existence and wanted to tear him apart. At this moment, Luli felt like he was facing a powerful beast when he was weak. Even his soul was trembling. The speed of the black fog was too fast, and the area it covered was too wide. He had no way to avoid it. After thinking about it, his body flashed and entered the Dharma realm. This thing was similar to what Star Emperor had said. Even Star Emperor couldn't withstand it, so he naturally didn't dare to take it head-on. Whoosh, whoosh, the black fog whooshed over and then whooshed away. Soon, it vanished into the distance. Luli was relieved after he sensed for a while in the Dharma realm. He flew out and began to fly forward slowly. One of the reasons why he dared to come here was that he had a strange Dharma realm. The fact that he could enter the Dharma realm was his leverage to save his life. Luli didn't dare to fly too fast. He maintained the speed of a Saint King at the initial stage, and he was highly alert. Once there was any sign of trouble, he would enter the Dharma realm. He wanted to go to the universe of chaos. He didn't want to waste his time with this strange and powerful energy in the void. Swish, a moment later, a ray of light suddenly rose above his head. Then, a huge ray of light hacked at him like a ray of sword light. When Luli sensed it, he dashed into the Dharma realm without any hesitation. Swish, swish, swish. Luli checked and realized that the space he was in was torn apart by that ray of light. Luli's heart was pounding. This place was horrifying. No wonder Astro Emperor didn't dare to come in. A moment later, nothing happened. Luli moved on. An hour later, a cloud of purple fog came from the distance. It was a large purple fog that covered a large area. Luli didn't dare to touch it. He went into the Dharma realm and waited for the purple fog to drift away. The purple fog covered a large area, and it was not fast. Luli waited in the Dharma realm for 6 hours before the purple fog was gone. Moving on, Luli saw 2 huge black holes and a swirl in space. That swirl in space was as large as the Tianhui universe. Luli could feel the strong suction force from a distance. Luli went around it. God knew what would happen to him if he was sucked into a swirl in space. Just like that, Luli flew for 6 days in a safe and sound manner. He was careful, hiding, and taking detours along the way. He was not fast enough, so he hadn't arrived at the universe of chaos yet. According to the information Astro Emperor learned from the Asmodean King, Luli would have to fly for half a month to reach the universe of chaos. Today, Luli finally ran into trouble, big trouble. A cloud of dark gray fog was coming toward him. It was not a large one, only 30 miles in length. As usual, Luli went into the Dharma realm before the fog came. He waited for the fog to go away and then went on his way. In the time for a few breaths, the fog came from behind. He went in again. A few breaths after he came out, the fog came again. This gave him the feeling that the mist seemed to have a mind of its own. It didn't go too far away, but kept circling around the area where he disappeared. Once again, Luli went into the Dharma realm. This time, he waited for several days before he came out. Who would have thought that the mist would appear and disappear like a ghost, shooting straight at him from behind? Luli was forced to enter the Dharma realm. He was frustrated. At this rate, he could not fly. He couldn't go back into the Dharma realm every few breaths. If that was the case, when would they reach the ruins of the primordial chaos realm? What was more, the fog would follow him after he arrived. What should he do? After thinking for a day in the Dharma realm, Luli made up his mind and came out. He released the armor of all and the shield of all. Just as he had expected, in the time for a few breaths, the dark gray fog flew over like an eel. This time, Luli didn't go in. He wanted to tame the fog. Whoosh! The fog was fast. In the blink of an eye, it had covered hundreds of thousands of miles and reached Luli. Luli operated the Dharma realm like crazy, waiting for the fog to hit him. A surge of violent force came. The fog smashed into him. Soon, the shield of all around him was cracked. The armor of all could not stand it for long, either. Suck it in, Luli yelled. The armor of all could not stand it. He had to pin his hopes on the Dharma realm. If the Dharma realm could not absorb the dark fog, then what awaited him would be death. Chapter 38:16. The dark gray haze smashed into Luli. Surges of energy surged into Luli's body. The realm of Dharma spun, and a large amount of energy was sucked into it. However, just like when he absorbed energy from the dark world, the moment the energy reached him, Luli's body was inflicted with great harm. Luli was smashed away. Half of his body was shredded and his bones were shattered. Go in. More energy came. Luli came back to his senses at the moment of life and death. He vanished into the realm of Dharma. Boom! He fell into the realm of Dharma. The ground was tainted red with his blood. Luli tumbled on the ground. His bones were broken. He was badly wounded. He grimaced in pain and groaned. He wanted to consume the elixir, but on second thought, he had an idea. He waved his hand and absorbed some energy from the realm of Dharma. He wanted to see the healing effect of the energy. The energy from the realm of Dharma was a combination of many kinds of energy, and it had been melted by the realm of Dharma. It was pure energy. Theoretically speaking, it should be able to heal wounds. A mass of energy from the realm of Dharma entered Lu Li's body. Soon he was shocked. The energy from the realm of Dharma could heal wounds, and it was amazing. Lu Li's wounds were recovering at a horrifying speed after just one round of circulation. After the time for 2 breaths, Lu Li stood up. He touched his wounds, and his eyes were filled with surprise. The energy from the realm of Dharma was indeed made of many kinds of energy. Its healing ability was amazing. In the time for 1 or 2 breaths, Lu Li's wounds were all healed. Lu Li exclaimed. He turned to the realm of Dharma. The realm of Dharma had absorbed a lot of the dark gray energy. Soon, Lu Li noticed a mass of dark gray haze floating in the air. He nodded with satisfaction. The haze had been absorbed. He used psychic power to check the outside of the realm of Dharma. He didn't see the dark gray haze. It must have drifted away. Lu Li checked his body and then released 2 layers of shield of Dharma. He consumed some energy from the realm of Dharma and rushed out. Swish, soon, a mass of dark gray haze flew over. Lu Li tried to resist it. When the dark gray haze smashed into him and knocked him away, his realm of Dharma absorbed some of the haze before he entered the realm of Dharma. It was still a serious injury, but it didn't seem to be as serious as before. Lu Li sensed it and was surprised. Was it because he had a trace of power of creation in his body? Or could it be that when he used the power of all living things to heal his injuries, it transformed his body and strengthened it? Lu Li called in a mass of universal energy and recovered in the time for 2 breaths. Lu Li kept going out to absorb more of the black fog. If he did not absorb all of it, he would not be able to go on his way. After entering the realm of Dharma for the 3rd time, Lu Li noticed that his wounds were getting lighter. He checked carefully and found that his body was getting stronger. His body was absorbing energy from everything and was growing rapidly. All right, Lu Li was exhilarated. He had plenty of energy in the realm of magic, and he had refined more later. That was enough for him to squander for thousands of years. He could even squander half of the energy this time. As long as his physical body was enhanced, it would also be a powerful combat power. At the very least, his defense would soar, which would be a good thing for him in the 7th heaven. Get out. Lu Li was excited. He was excited to see the dark gray energy outside. After he went out, the black gray energy quickly arrived and continued to knock him away, severely injuring him. Again and again, the black gray energy was diminishing bit by bit. Lu Li's body was recovering and growing stronger. 3.5 days later, Lu Li went out again. This time, the black gray energy knocked him away, but he was not as badly injured. His wounds were only superficial. This time, Lu Li didn't go back into the realm of magic. He waited for the energy to hit him again until he was badly injured before he went in. 10 days later, Lu Li could stand 5 hits of the energy. A month later, Lu Li was speechless. He was standing in the void. The energy smashed him away again and again, but his body was not harmed. He was just knocked away. Lu Li had absorbed about 1% of the energy from everything. That was a drop in the bucket for so much energy. Since he could not be hurt, he could not absorb more. Lu Li had to stand there and wait for the black-gray energy to hit him again and again until he absorbed all of it. I think I can stand here and let a middle realm warrior hit me. As long as I don't use an almighty artifact, I can survive. Lu Li thought to himself. There was so much energy from everything. If he could absorb 1/10 of it, how strong would his body be? Would not even the almighty immortals be able to kill him? On second thought, Lu Li shook his head. He remembered the energy of the world that the Asmodean used. It was impossible for Lu Li to withstand that energy with his physical body. Just a little bit of energy from the world could crush his physical body into dust. Another 10 days later, all the black-gray energy was absorbed. Luli didn't stay any longer. He flew forward at a speed that was more than 10 times faster. Now that his body was strong, he was confident. Instead, he hoped that there would be strong energy to attack him so that his body could be strengthened. Whoosh! After flying for half a day, a cloud of white mist came from the front. It was long like a white dragon. Just to be safe, Luli released the shield of the universe. He could use 2 shields of the universe to test the strength of the energy. Bang! The white mist smashed into the shield of the universe. Luli was relieved. He stood where he was and tried to withstand it with his body. The powerful energy landed on Luli's body. He was smashed away and he was injured as well. But it was not a serious injury. It was not a big deal. Luli didn't dodge or enter the Dharma realm. He stood there, waiting for the white energy to hit him. The white energy was like tide water, hitting Luli again and again. His injuries were getting worse. Luli still didn't enter the Dharma realm. He used the energy from everything to heal himself. His body was getting hurt under the impact of the white mist. The energy from everything was repairing him quickly. It was destroying and repairing at the same time. At the same time, the Dharma realm was absorbing the white mist. Luli could have dodged the white mist easily, but he had to control his angle. He was still being hit by the white mist. He was swept away by the white mist. His body was being torn apart, but the energy from everything was helping him recover. It was a painful yet joyful experience. His body was getting stronger. Luli was exhilarated. As long as his body could grow stronger, suffering was nothing. 3 days later, Luli got rid of the white mist. The white mist could no longer hurt him. It had lost its effect. The Dharma realm had absorbed a lot of white mist as well. Luli didn't care about the strange energy anymore. What was the difference? Let's go. Luli was not in a hurry to go to the universe of chaos. He wanted to find energy to improve his body. The stronger his body was, the safer he would be in the universe of chaos. Chapter 38:17. It had been a year. Luli had been searching in the void of the 7th heaven for an entire year. During this time, Luli had been attacked by dozens of kinds of energy, most of which he had never encountered before. The energy here was overwhelming. Average warriors at the absolute peak could not stand it, and even Astro Emperor would die soon. Luli was not afraid of any kind of energy now. During the year, the energy in his realm of magic had been reduced by 20%. In other words, he had absorbed 20% of the energy. Not even he could tell how strong his body was. Not even a middle realm master with an almighty artifact could kill him. The worst that could happen to him would be hurt. Instead of wandering around, Luli flew toward the universe of chaos. He had been close to the universe of chaos many times, but never went in. After such a long time, the energy he encountered could no longer hurt him. It was pointless for him to keep searching. Astro Emperor had been waiting in the barrier between the 6th heaven and the 7th heaven. It had been over a year, and he could not tell if Luli was alive or not. Luli did not give him a jade talisman of life. Astro Emperor had been waiting. Buzzing, the space around Astro Emperor began to tremble. Then a pretty girl came out. Astro Emperor was startled. He was about to take out his weapon when a soft voice came out. "It is me. Lord, how come you are here?" Astro Emperor was surprised. He bowed at once. The Demon Lord was here. The Demon Lord asked in surprise, "Luli has reached the 7th heaven?" Astro Emperor forced a smile and said, "Lord, I have tried to persuade him many times, but he insisted. He said that there is a high chance that he can reach the almighty immortal level in the 7th heaven. He said that if you were defeated, Emperor of Punisher would not let him and me go. So, he wanted to take a gamble." The Demon Lord showed no emotion. She frowned and said, "When the 7th heaven collapsed, the energy of primordial energy in the universe of chaos must have reappeared. It can be found in many places. Not even I can stand it. This punk is courting death." This was the first time Astro Emperor had heard of it. Not even the Demon Lord could stand it. Luli, on the other hand, had no idea. This time he was doomed. Astro Emperor said anxiously, "Lord, please go in and get Luli out." How long has he been in there? The great demon king wasn't in a hurry to act. More than a year. Star Emperor's face darkened, and he said, "Maybe he has already died inside. He's not dead yet." The great demon king shook her head, then frowned even tighter. She murmured in doubt, "He hasn't died after being in there for so long? Logically speaking, he should have reached the primordial chaos realm long ago, right? Could it be that he has a way to resist the primordial chi?" The demon lord thought that Luli had just gone in. Little did he know that Luli had been there for over a year. She pondered for a moment, then her body flashed and entered the seventh heaven. But she just stood at the entrance. She closed her eyes, and an invisible ripple spread out from her body, surging forward like a tide. Star Emperor followed him in, but he was at the entrance. He could leave at any time, so he didn't panic. The great demon king closed his eyes and sensed for more than an hour. During this time, a strange energy attacked him, but the great demon king casually waved his hand and dispersed it. "Let's go." 2 hours later, she opened her eyes and went back to the sixth heaven with Astro Emperor. Astro Emperor was surprised. When they arrived at the sixth heaven, he asked, "Lord, how is it?" He should have entered the primordial chaos realm. The great demon king said he has been in the primordial chaos realm for a long time, which means that he can protect himself. Don't worry about him, and don't worry about him. Let's go back. Emperor of Punisher can come out at any time. We can't worry about him. Go back and help me. Okay. Astro Emperor said nothing. He looked back at Luli and asked, "Lord, can Luli reach the supreme immortal level?" "I don't know." The great demon king answered emotionlessly, "Maybe, maybe not. Everything depends on fate. Whether we can survive this calamity or not will depend on fate. If we are all destined to die, then there is nothing to say. What is the joy in life and what is the pain in death?" But I did some calculations back then. There's a variable that can affect whether we can survive this calamity or not, and that variable must be Luli. If this variable can change the fate, then our efforts over the years have not been in vain. With that said, the great demon king released a mass of energy to envelop Astro Emperor. After a flash of white light, both she and Astro Emperor vanished from the sixth heaven. Half a month later, Luli arrived at the primordial chaos realm. The primordial chaos realm was divided into 3 parts, 3 continents that had turned into ruins. Luli wandered around one of the continents for a while. There were ruins everywhere, including the remains of cities and skeletons. There were no flowers, trees, or xianqi. There were only clouds of mist of various colors. Apart from the fact that the mist was larger, this place was no different from the deserted universes of the 5th or 6th heaven. Since Astro Emperor had never been here, Luli was in the dark. He had to explore and search on his own. He flew down and hovered in the air, looking for something at a moderate speed. He didn't know what he was looking for. He just flew around aimlessly. This continent was huge. Luli had been here for 6 years, and he hadn't reached the edge yet. During the 6 years, Luli found many places where almighty immortals lived and traces of battles. He found many strange energies and horrifying things. Given his physical strength, average energy could not hurt him. He didn't go to some places that he felt were dangerous. He didn't find what he was looking for during the 6 years. Naturally, he didn't become an almighty immortal. He didn't know what to do. He wandered around like a headless fly. Somehow, he had a feeling that what he was looking for must be in the 7th heaven, in the primordial chaos. It was just that he hadn't found it yet. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, 30 years had passed. Luli had finished searching the first continent. He didn't find what he was looking for. He didn't go to some places that he felt were too dangerous. He went to the second continent to continue his search. The 30 years weren't completely fruitless. He had absorbed hundreds of strange energies in the realm of magic. His physical strength had grown several times stronger. He consumed another 20% of the force of creation. Now, he only had a little more than half of it left. 3 months later, Luli arrived at a huge pit. It was large, with a radius of tens of thousands of miles. Luli flew up to the sky after a while. Looking down from the sky, he was taken aback. The shape of the pit was a huge handprint. Can it be? An image came to Luli's mind. It was the one he saw in the calligraphy in the study of the ice harem. A huge black hand slammed down. Then the entire universe shook violently. In the end, the entire world collapsed. There was a handprint here as well. Were they the same? Did the image recorded by the ice harem happen here? Did Emperor of Punisher make this handprint? Was the destroyed universe the primordial chaos? Remember the mobile website. Chapter 38:18. A huge hand broke through the dark clouds and landed on the ground. The ground shook violently. Then, the universe collapsed and the world was destroyed. Many warriors ran away in fear. However, they were all torn apart by the force of space and died one after another. This was what Luli saw in the Ice Queen's palace. That huge handprint was similar to the one here. The one here was more than 3,000 miles wide and bottomless. There were cracks on all sides. The handprint might be the cause of the collapse of the world. No, Luli tried to recall. That universe was not as large as it used to be. What was more, there were no average warriors living in the seventh heaven. When that universe collapsed, many warriors passed away. That's not right. There were many cities in the universe of mixed elements and bones. If there were no civilians living here, where did the bones come from? How could there be so many cities? The bones could not belong to an almighty immortal. Luli's mind was filled with questions. He wished he could use the third eye to send a message back to the Demon King. That being said, it was not right to ask the Demon King. He had come here behind the Demon King's back. Luli thought about it and decided not to dwell on it. Needless to say, it was an almighty immortal. He circled around and then flew down into the abyss. There must be a handprint at the bottom of the abyss. That was an attack from an almighty immortal. Naturally, Luli had to go down and observe. Maybe he could learn something. Learning might not be useful, but it wouldn't be a waste of time. He flew down quickly. The abyss was deep. Luli had flown for hundreds of thousands of miles and still hadn't reached the bottom. He flew on for another 30,000 miles. Finally, he felt he was about to reach the bottom because he saw the thick white fog down there. Wait, Luli was about to get closer. When he was 300 miles away from the white fog, his heart began to beat faster. He sensed a great danger. It was as if it was not the white fog, but a super beast was lurking down there. If he dared to get closer, he might be torn apart. How is this possible? Luli was shocked. How could he have such a strong sense of danger at his current level? Not even the most powerful immortal beast could hurt him. Not even the most horrifying energy could make his soul tremble like this. The energy he encountered later on did not give him such a strong sense of crisis. He didn't dare to act rashly and went to investigate from afar. Unfortunately, the white fog had the ability to block his divine telekinesis, so his divine telekinesis was unable to detect what was underneath. He activated the marks of the great Tao, and this time he could barely sense it. He sensed for a while and did not sense any signs of life below. It was obvious that the danger came from the white mist below. What is this white mist? Luli was curious. His physical body was strong now. Could the white mist kill him easily? He carefully examined it for a few hours, then gritted his teeth and prepared to go down and give it a try. He had encountered it a few times before, but he felt that it was very dangerous and did not dare to approach it. This time, he was prepared to give it a try. Otherwise, what was the point of him coming here? The energy here wasn't like the energy outside. The energy here wouldn't move, so it probably wouldn't have such a strong impact. At most, the energy here had some corrosive properties, but it shouldn't be able to instantly corrode his body, right? If worst comes to worst, he'll just try it with one leg. If it doesn't work, he'll just chop it off. Now that he had made up his mind, he no longer had any scruples. His body slowly flew down, his mind on high alert. The closer he was to the white mist, the more his heart palpitated. Luli made up his mind. He didn't think too much and flew down. When he arrived at the white mist, it didn't move. Luli took a deep breath and reached his hand into the white mist. When he touched the white mist, what he imagined didn't happen. The white mist didn't mince his arm. It was as if he had reached into an average cloud of white mist. Buzzing, while Luli was wondering, the white mist suddenly surged and a strong force of suction came over. Luli was suddenly pulled down. He felt there was a huge beast down there, grabbing his arm and trying to drag him down. Luli tried to pull his arm out, but the force was too strong. He couldn't stand it, and he was sucked into the white mist. After he was sucked in, he knew there was no way to escape. The strong force enveloped him. He couldn't control his body and was pulled down. Luli decided to enter the realm of magic. However, the force was so strong that he couldn't enter the realm of magic. He could only watch helplessly as he was pulled down. He was fast. In the blink of an eye, he had covered an area of more than 10,000 miles. The white mist had covered an area of more than 10,000 miles. What is that? Luli sensed that there was something white and shiny below him. He was flying towards that white liquid. He didn't have time to think before he smashed into a small pond of white liquid. He was enveloped by the white liquid. No, as soon as he was in the white liquid, he knew he was in trouble. His body was melting at a horrifying speed. It was like a piece of wood falling into lava. Fortunately, his body was strong, or else he would have been turned into ashes in an instant. I can't stop it. In a split of a second, Luli knew he could not stop the invasion of the white liquid. Without any hesitation, he let the holy soul bead in his head wrap up his soul and let it float away from his body. Then, he entered the realm of magic directly. The holy soul bead could become intangible and move freely in his body. If it weren't for the bead, when he was in the eye of destruction, his soul would have perished. Now that he could not save his body, he had to save his soul. Fortunately, his body had absorbed so much energy that it was strong enough to help him survive for 1 or 2 breaths. Otherwise, his soul would have been destroyed. When his soul entered the realm of magic, Luli was relieved. At least, his soul was safe for now. What about the pellet? Can I keep it? Luli remembered something else. The pellet was the passageway connecting the realm of magic to the outside world. If the pellet could not survive, then the passageway would be destroyed. At the very least, he could not go back to the outside world through the pellet, not to mention the collapse of the realm of magic. He immediately sent out his divine will. Very soon, he relaxed slightly. His physical body had completely melted, but the divine elixir had not. Now, only a divine elixir was left floating in the white liquid outside. What the hell is this? Luli was losing his temper. His body was strong, and yet it was melted in the time for 1 or 2 breaths. More importantly, he did not have any treasures that could help him build a physical body. The pellet was not that valuable. However, he had always thought that he would be killed if he was strong enough. He never thought that his body would be destroyed again. Therefore, he did not prepare these things. This time, it was not like the time in the eye of destruction. The bloody liquid outside was too horrifying. As soon as his soul went out, it would be melted. Also, even if he could build a physical body, it would still be destroyed when he went out. Luli checked for a while and murmured weakly in his head, "The forbidden ground of gods, it really lives up to its name. I'm going to die here, at the 7th realm of heaven. There was no hope for an over-god to make a breakthrough." Now, his powerful physical body was destroyed. Luli felt a sense of despair. The latest chapter of the Eternal Dragon Emperor. Chapter 38:19. The Asmodean king once said that the 7th heaven was dangerous, and there were some places that she might not be able to handle. Astro Emperor tried to persuade Luli, but he insisted. Of course, he had nothing to regret. He had chosen his own path, so he naturally had to bear the consequences himself. Having had the experience of having his body destroyed, Luli did not panic. This time, he had come with the determination to die. However, he felt that it was a pity that his physical body was so powerful. It had taken him so many years to reach his current level. Who knew how long it would take for him to reconstruct his physical body to reach its previous level? He waited in there for an hour to make sure that the pellets were not destroyed. Luli began to calm down and figure out a way to save himself. He pondered for a moment before activating his Dharma realm to see if he could absorb this white liquid. If he could absorb all of the white divine liquid, he would at least be able to control the sacred soul pearl to fly away. He controlled the Dharma realm to move quickly. Luli tried to sense and realized that the Dharma realm could absorb energy just very slowly. After sensing for a while, he felt a little bitter in his heart. According to his current absorption speed, it would probably take him several hundred years to absorb all of the divine liquid outside. The Punishment Emperor could come out of seclusion at any time. If he was trapped here for a few hundred years, everything outside would be cold. When he reconstructed his fleshly body and left, Flame Empress realm might not even exist anymore. Everyone would have died. Right now, he couldn't use his Heaven's Eye to investigate, so he didn't know what was going on outside. No, my Heaven's Eye is in the space ring. It couldn't have been destroyed, right? Luli suddenly remembered something. The third eye was in the interspatial ring, but it seemed the interspatial ring was gone. He immediately swept out with his divine sense, and sure enough, he couldn't find any space rings. They had probably melted along with his body just now. Even his powerful physique couldn't withstand it. So how could a space ring possibly? A sovereign artifact can't be destroyed so easily, right? Luli was confused. The interspatial ring was destroyed. The things inside must have entered the Shumi space and been sucked into the turbulence in space. A sovereign artifact had the Tao seal of sovereign within it. It shouldn't be destroyed so easily. Soon, Luli stopped thinking about it. What was the point of getting the third eye back in his current state? He couldn't use it. If he couldn't leave this place alive, even 10 sovereign artifacts would be useless to him. He pondered again, trying to think of a way to break out of this predicament. After pondering and absorbing for a few days, he was certain of one thing. The divine liquid outside was too powerful, and the magic realm's absorption speed was too slow. It would take at least a few hundred years to completely absorb it. Therefore, under normal circumstances, he would not be able to leave. If he wanted to leave in a short period of time, he would have to find another way. Luli used psychic power to check on the clouds of white mist in the air. That was the divine liquid absorbed over the past few days. He thought about it, and there was only one way to get out, and that was to find a way to use the divine liquid and the power of all creation to form a new body. Pay them back in their own coin. As long as his body was condensed from the divine liquid outside, he would definitely be able to resist the divine liquid outside. His fleshly body was made up of many external energies, so the external divine liquid naturally could not cause any harm to him. However, how was he going to use the power of all creation and the divine liquid to reform his body? That was a problem. He had tried to reform his physical body before, but that was because he had found a heaven and earth wonder fruit in the Eye of Destruction. There was no such thing here. Could it be that he could reform his physical body with pure energy? Luli had never tried this before, so he didn't know where to start. I have to figure something out first. Luli calmed himself down. There was no point in being impatient. The more impatient he was, the harder it would be for him to get out. He had to figure out a way to use the power of all creation and the divine liquid to reform his physical body. It had been 50 years. During the 50 years, Luli had absorbed a lot of divine liquid. There was a cloud of white mist floating above the Dharma realm. Luli had absorbed a lot of divine liquid, but he still could not find a way to get out. Reforming his physical body was easier said than done. Without treasure materials, how could he rely on some energy? It had been 80 years since Luli reached the 7th plane. It had been over 900 years since the time of 1,000 years. Without the third eye, Luli did not know what was going on outside. Had the Emperor of Punisher come out? Were the Asmodeans okay or not? Luli had been suffering for decades. Without his physical body, all that was left of him was his soul, which was trapped in the Holy Soul bead. His spirit was tortured at all times. It was not hard to imagine how miserable his days were. More importantly, he could not see any hope. He could not even leave this place alive, let alone become an almighty god. The immortal region was still as quiet as before, but the atmosphere was even more depressing. During this period of time, even those small clans and forces did not dare to recklessly start a war. They all obediently hid in their own territories. They did not know what was going to happen, but there were vague orders coming from above that if they did not want to die, they had to be more obedient. Another year passed. In the sky above the northernmost part of the immortal region, a door suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Then 4 figures flashed out. The moment the 4 figures appeared, the surrounding space shook violently. Ha ha! Among the 4 figures, a burly middle-aged man wearing a black luxurious robe and a purple gold crown on his head suddenly burst into laughter. His laughter spread out like a ripple. In the time for a dozen breaths, it had spread throughout the entire immortal region. The entire immortal region was shocked. Countless martial artists flew over in fear, and all the cities were in an uproar. Messages flew everywhere, and many great perfection deities immediately teleported over to Clear Lake. This laughter was too terrifying. It spread throughout the entire immortal region. Only a master god could do this. The laughter was full of joy and insolence. Many perfected ones guessed that the Punishment Emperor had come out of seclusion. The Lord has come out. Clear Lake was already in an uproar. The middle stage Realm King's face was full of excitement. His old face was flushed, as if he had become tens of thousands of years younger. The Punishment Emperor had come out of seclusion in such a high-profile manner. He did not even hesitate to let the entire immortal region know. What did this mean? It meant that the Punishment Emperor had absolute confidence in controlling the whole situation. Otherwise, he would not have been so unrestrained. He must have come out secretly to find a chance to kill the Flame Empress and the others. God, send a message to all the Realm Kings and Perfected Ones. Tell them to teleport to Clear Lake. The middle stage Realm King shouted. Cod immediately went to send a message. Actually, there was no need to send a message. Many perfected ones were already teleporting over. The Punishment Emperor coming out of seclusion was such a big event. How could they not all gather to welcome him? Whoever did not come would probably die in the wrath of the Punishment Emperor. A few hours later, all the Realm Kings arrived. Some of the other perfected ones had also come. Some were probably still on the way to teleport. The middle stage Realm King did not say anything to the perfected ones. He only asked them to stand respectfully and wait. He believed that once all the perfected ones had gathered, the Punishment Emperor would definitely show himself. The Punishment Emperor also needed to ask some questions. The war is about to break out. The middle stage Realm King murmured nervously and excitedly. After this war, the entire Great Realm would be settled. He would also become the ruler of the entire Great Realm and prosper for generations to come. Chapter 38:20. A day later, all the paragons arrived and stood in a neat row. The Middle Region Realm King had all the Clear Lake martial artists retreat, leaving only Mizcod behind. They then waited quietly for Xingdi to arrive. Xingdi didn't make them wait too long. 4 hours later, the space fluctuated slightly and 4 figures appeared. The Middle Region Realm King hurriedly knelt down on one knee and said, Greetings, Xingdi, Mod, Yaodi, and Li Di. Greetings, Xingdi, Mod, Yaodi, and Li Di. The other Realm Kings and Paragons all knelt down on one knee and bowed deeply. All the Paragons' faces were filled with excitement and reverence. Whether it was sincere or not, they naturally had to put on an act. These were sovereigns after all. Xingdi had an extraordinarily handsome appearance. Mod also revealed his true appearance this time. His face was somewhat sinister, and it was obvious that he wasn't a kind person. Yaodi's appearance was more feminine, like a woman. Li Di looked kinder, aloof from worldly affairs, and had an otherworldly bearing. The 4 sovereigns clearly respected Xingdi. Xingdi stood in front while the other 3 stood behind. Xingdi wore a purple gold crown and had a dignified appearance. His eyes were as deep as the sea, and he didn't look like a sovereign at all. Instead, He looked like an overlord of the immortal domain. He glanced around and flew down with the three chief gods, landing in the hall of the wooden house. The Middle Region Realm Kings hurriedly followed. The Middle Region Realm Kings were already prepared in this hall. There were 4 thrones in the hall, and there were no other seats. How could they be qualified to sit in front of Sovereign? They knelt down again. This time, Xingdi spoke, "Rise." The Middle Region Realm Kings and the others thanked him. Xingdi glanced at the Middle Region Realm King and said, "Turtle Slave, it's been hard on you all these years." The Middle Region Realm King hurriedly bowed and said, "Xingdi is too kind. This is what this old servant should do." The other Realm Kings were slightly startled. Why did it feel like the Middle Region Realm King was an old servant of Xingdi's family? In fact, that was the case. The Middle Region Realm King used to be an old servant of Xingdi. After Xingdi became a sovereign, the Middle Region Realm King's strength kept rising, and the sovereign weapon was also bestowed by Xingdi. A large part of the reason why a mid-stage Realm King could become a Realm King and become the #1 in the Immortal Region was because of the Punishment Emperor. The Executioner waved his hand. His gaze swept across the other great perfection deities, and he did not say anything else. He merely asked, "It's been so many years. Have you discovered anything?" The Middle Region Realm King thought for a moment and looked around. Xingdi said, "Don't worry. With me here, no one can eavesdrop on us, not even the Flame Empress." The Middle Region Realm King was relieved. He said, "We've explored many places over the years and found more than 10 possible entrances to Flame Empress World. Because we can't enter, we can't be sure where the entrance is. As for the surviving forces of Empress Flame, I don't know who they are yet. I only know Lu Li. He has been missing for many years, and he is proficient in hiding. His family and warriors of the God of Death are gone as well. They must have been sent to the Flame Empress universe. Bring me the information." Xingdi reached out his hand, and the Middle Realm King immediately handed over the information about the entrances. Xingdi looked through it carefully, and after a while, he passed the information to Mu Di, who was beside him. Mu Di then passed it to the other 2 main gods. Xingdi thought about it and said, "The information you gave us has some basis, but we can't be sure that these are the entrances to the Flame Empress universe. Let's investigate first. Send a group of warriors that are infinitely close to the Absolute Realm to investigate." The group of Absolute Realm Kings was shocked. Wouldn't it be a one-way trip if they were sent to investigate? Luckily, Xingdi said to send warriors that were infinitely close to the Absolute Realm. If they were sent in, they would all be doomed. The Middle Region Realm King bowed and said, "Yes, Xingdi's command." The group of Absolute Realm Kings left, leaving only the Middle Region Realm King inside. The Middle Region Realm King asked, "My lords, is there anything else you need? For example, do you need a group of pretty maids? Do you need the palace to make such arrangements?" The 4 overlords had stayed in the 9 hells for so many years and suffered for so many years. The Middle Region Realm King wanted to let them enjoy themselves. Xingdi waved his hand and said, "We will just stay here. We don't need anything else for now. Let's talk about it after we kill the Flame Empress." "Yes." The Middle Region Realm King left and waited outside. He personally watched over the place and didn't let anyone disturb Xingdi and the others. On the other side, he had Cod gather a group of warriors that were infinitely close to the Absolute Realm King. Each side had 500 Saint Emperors to investigate the dozen or so entrances to Flame Empress universe. At the same time, he sent 1 Absolute Realm King to each side to watch over the place. In any case, these Absolute Realm Kings didn't need to take the risk. They were just sent to the center and report immediately if anything happened. A group of Absolute Realm Kings led a group of martial artists to the places that were suspected to be the entrances to Flame Empress universe. In addition, the Middle Region Realm King gathered a large number of scouts. If the Absolute Realm King was killed, there would be no news back. These dozen or so entrances to Flame Empress universe were all outside. It would take a while to get there from the Immortal Region, at least a year or 2 to get there. This didn't matter to Xingdi. He had stayed in the 9 hells for so many years. He could wait a few years. As long as he could kill the Flame Empress and the others, he didn't mind spending a few thousand years. Xingdi's domineering appearance shook the entire immortal region. However, many low-level martial artists didn't know what was going on. Even many of the great clans didn't know. The absolute realm kings didn't dare to spread the news about the overlords. So, rumors flew everywhere, and all kinds of guesses and discussions arose. The great clans of the 8 galaxies all had scouts in the immortal region. The 8 galaxies were also shaken. The Flame Empress had arranged for some spies in the immortal region and the 8 galaxies. The news quickly spread to Flame Empress Universe. Star Sovereign was in charge of these affairs. When he received the news, he immediately went to the Great Demon King. "Sir," Star Sovereign cupped his hands. The Great Demon King, who was sitting in the pavilion, opened his eyes and asked, "Xingdi is out?" "Yes," Star Sovereign nodded and reported. According to the news, more than a dozen absolute realm martial artists set off with some martial artists. They went to more than a dozen places. I guess they are searching for the entrance to Flame Empress Universe. A group of martial artists might be heading this way. Let's follow the original plan. The Great Demon King waved his hand and said, "Mobilize those who should be mobilized. Arrange those who should be settled. Later, I will cut off the connection with Flame Empress Universe and send it to the Meru realm. We will go out and fight. No matter who wins or loses, this is the only battle." All right. Star Sovereign retreated and started to make arrangements. According to the original plan, some martial artists from Heaven Devil City would follow and fight while the rest would stay here. Flame Empress Universe would cut off the connection with the outside world and be sent to the Meru realm. If Xingdi and the others were determined to find them, they would definitely be able to find them. The Flame Empress was betting that Xingdi would not care about these small fries after he killed the 3 overlords. Swish! Once Star Sovereign left, Overlord Jia Luo flew over. Qinya Zishi's body flashed and appeared like a ghost. The Great Demon King smiled and looked at the childlike Jia Luo, and then at Zishi, who had grown up a little but still looked like a child. He smiled and said, "The battle is about to begin. Are you afraid?" Jia Luo took a bite of the spirit fruit and said, "Follow, big sister. I am not afraid." Zishi looked into the distance and murmured, "Why is Big Brother Lu not back yet?" "Big Brother Lu, you promised Zishi. You can't go back on your words. As long as I can fight alongside you." Zishi is not afraid of anything. Chapter 38:21. The war was about to break out. Luli was on the verge of a mental breakdown before he could find a place to stay. It was not because of exhaustion, but because he could not see any hope. The realm of Dharma was absorbing the divine liquid too slowly. After so many years, only about 10% of the divine liquid had been absorbed. If Luli dared to go out, his soul would be destroyed in an instant. His soul could survive for a while in the realm of Dharma, but it would perish sooner or later. Over the years, Luli had been trying to build a physical body using the force of creation and the divine liquid. He had tried many times, but to no avail. To build a physical body, there must be a root. Back then, he built his physical body because of fruit. That fruit became his root. He used the fruit to build the skeleton of his body and used the energy of destruction to transform his body. Only then could he rebuild his physical body. Now, the force of creation, the white haze, and the other energies in the realm of Dharma were all in the form of liquid or gas. How could those energies become the root? Was he going to build a man made of water? Without the root, there would be no bones. Even if he could build a physical body with the force of creation, he would still be a weakling. As a matter of fact, Luli had thought of another way, but it was too risky. His soul could be destroyed. That way, he would control the force of creation and the divine liquid he had absorbed to rush out. He would borrow the force of creation and, most importantly, the haze of divine liquid to protect his soul so that he could escape from the pond of white divine liquid. The haze of divine liquid here was formed by absorbing the white divine liquid outside. They were of the same origin. The divine liquid might be even more powerful after being refined by the realm of Dharma. With the protection of the white divine liquid, Lu Li's soul might be able to break free from the shackles of the white divine liquid and escape from the abyss. As long as he could escape, he could control his soul to wander around in search of treasures that could help him rebuild his physical body. When his physical body was rebuilt, he could figure out a way. That being said, there were several problems. First of all, he was not confident that his soul could make it out. On the off chance that he could not survive and his soul was attacked, he would perish. There would be no more chances. Secondly, even if his soul could escape from the abyss, there were ruins everywhere. There were no treasures. How could he rebuild his physical body if he could not find any? Thirdly, there were many terrifying energies outside. Without the protection of his physical body, once his soul was attacked, it would also be destroyed. It was for these reasons that Lu Li dared not to take any risks. That was why he had been trapped here. He could not see any hope or find a way out. He felt he was waiting for his soul to dissipate. After another 3 months, Lu Li finally couldn't take it anymore. If this went on, not to mention finding a solution, he might really become a madman. He decided to take the risk and give it a try. If he didn't go crazy, he wouldn't be able to survive. At worst, his soul would be completely destroyed. At that time, there wouldn't be anything to think about. He began to use his will to control the power of all creations to fly over. Countless power of all creations surged over, and many of them entered the sacred soul pearl, wrapping his soul within. Afterwards, he gathered the divine liquid mist and wrapped it around the sacred soul pearl. Like a cocoon, he controlled the divine liquid mist to entangle with each other, making it even denser. Go! Once Lu Li had made up his mind, nothing could stop him. He let the sacred soul pearl become intangible. The power of all creations and the divine liquid mist were energy itself. They flew out and appeared in the pellet. Inside the pellet, Lu Li slowed down. He controlled the divine liquid mist to probe out. He wanted to see if the mist could stop the divine liquid outside. A cloud of divine liquid mist flew out. What happened next made Lu Li despair. As soon as the mist left the pellet, it melted without leaving anything behind. The divine liquid seemed to be the most powerful energy in the world. It could corrode everything and melt everything. Wait a minute. On this thought, Lu Li was confused. He used psychic power to check the pellet. If the divine liquid was so powerful, how come the pellet could withstand it? Lu Li's body was so strong that it could be comparable to an almighty immortal's. Even so, he could not withstand the divine liquid. How could the pellet do it? Lu Li didn't think too much about it before, but now he couldn't help but wonder. He thought about it and remembered that when he was building the pellet in the Dharma realm, he seemed to have carved some marks of Tao in the pellet. Was it related to this? Yes. Lu Li figured it out. He found the marks of Tao when he was studying a secret realm. The more than 3,000 marks of Tao supported the entire secret realm. They were the backbone of the realm. Just like human bones, without the more than 3,000 marks of Tao, the secret realm would not have existed. That is to say, the more than 3,000 marks of Tao are supporting the pellet. They have formed some kind of formation inside the pellet, giving the pellet a strong force field. That is why it can withstand the invasion of the divine liquid. If I destroy the more than 3,000 marks of Tao, I don't have to destroy many. I only have to remove a few hundred. Maybe the entire pellet will melt right away? Does it mean that if I build more than 3,000 marks of Tao in the Holy Soul Bead, the Holy Soul Bead will also have such strong defense? That can't be right. I've also engraved it in my physical body. If that's the case, my physical body should also possess a terrifying defensive power, making it invincible. So, I cannot build the marks of Tao in other places. I have to do it in a world. The realm of Dharma is in the pellet. The more than 3,000 marks of Tao support a world, which is to say, the entire realm of Dharma. My realm of Dharma is in the pellet because the more than 3,000 marks of Tao are engraved in the pellet. If I destroy the more than 3,000 marks of Tao, the pellet will be destroyed and the entire realm of Dharma will fall apart. Well, if I am going to die, I will destroy the marks of Tao and let the realm of Dharma collapse. There is no point in keeping them. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. I came from this world, so I will go back to this world. Many thoughts flashed across Lu Li's mind. This time, he had lost all hope. He even thought of destroying the entire realm of Dharma. His soul could not leave, and he could not rebuild his body in the realm of Dharma. He would have to wait for death. He was on the verge of a mental breakdown. He was about to lose his mind. Naturally, he would have negative thoughts. He wanted the entire realm of Dharma to die with him and return to nature. Destruction? On this thought, Lu Li's heart skipped a beat. He remembered a painting, the one he saw in the calligraphy in the study of the ice harem. He recalled that enormous palm that had suddenly slammed down, and then that world had collapsed and countless creatures had died. Following that, the entire world turned into chaos, and within the chaos, a new world was born, forming yet another world. Then, the world gave birth to living beings who multiplied and evolved. Warriors emerged. Then countries and powerful warriors emerged. In the end, the world was destroyed again and again, reincarnating. Destruction, rebirth, rise, prosperity, and then more destruction. Lu Li's soul was throbbing more and more violently. He had been studying many things in his mind. At this moment, he suddenly felt there was a thread connecting them all together. All the thoughts in his mind eventually led to one thing. There were no more thoughts in his mind except for 4 words. Destruction, rebirth. Chapter 38:22. Destruction and Rebirth. A crazy idea sprang up in Lu Li's mind. It was like a spark was setting the prairie ablaze. Over the past hundreds of years, Lu Li had been wandering around, searching and studying. At this moment, all the thoughts in his mind were condensed into 4 words. He seemed to have turned into a lunatic. The 4 words kept echoing in his mind: destruction and rebirth. He used psychic power to check the liquid outside, the pellets, and then the Dharma realm. He felt he was in a trance. If this Dharma realm of his was destroyed, would he be reborn like what he saw in the Ice Queen Palace? The divine liquid in the periphery looked like a primal chaos. Maybe he could be reborn, or he could be completely destroyed. Destruction, destruction, destruction. The crazy thoughts in his mind were getting stronger and stronger. They were surging in like tide water. For so many years, he had been highly stressed. The pressure had reached the limit. Now, he felt he had found a way to vent. Either rebirth or complete destruction. He forced himself to calm down. Thoughts flashed through his mind. Images flashed by one after another. Hints of realization flashed by. There were also the things he had experienced since he was young. There were also his wives, his parents, the members of the Lu clan, his friends, his subordinates, the faces, the pictures, the incidents, and eventually, everything disappeared. Lu Li's mind was blank. At this moment, all the pressure in his mind was gone. All the obsessions and worries were gone. Everything was gone. Yes, he had made up his mind. Since he had made up his mind, there was nothing more to say. He could not survive unless he lost his mind. There was no rebirth after destruction. Then, he would bid farewell to the world. The holy soul bead surged. Strands of soul energy mixed with the power of creation emerged and flew toward the marks of great Tao in the pellet. He destroyed the marks of great Tao one by one. He wanted to destroy the entire Dharma realm. Without destruction, there could not be construction. He must destroy first and then rebuild. He was the one who carved the marks of great Tao. It would be easy for him to destroy them now. Soon, the first mark of great Tao disappeared. Lu Li tried to sense, and it was as he had expected. His Dharma realm was shaking violently. The space inside was trembling as if the entire world was about to collapse. The second, the third, the fifth, the various energies within the magic realm began to stir restlessly. The entire world was blown about, and cold air wreaked havoc. Snowflakes fluttered about. Origin energy transformed into turbulent flows that whistled about. Cracks appeared in space as if the end of the world had arrived. The 10th, the 20th, the 50th, the entire magic world started to collapse, and a large area of space collapsed. Huge spatial black holes appeared, and spatial cracks appeared everywhere. Let's go and have a look. The other three overlords stood up. A ray of white light appeared around Emperor of Punish and enveloped the middle region master. The other three overlords glowed as well. Then they disappeared on the spot. After a long time, maybe a few breaths, maybe a few hours, the middle region master felt his eyes light up. He appeared in the void. He glanced over and saw a figure flying toward him. It was the king of the west, Gu Fei. Gu Fei flew over in terror and knelt down on one knee to pay his respects to the master gods. His eyes were filled with astonishment. He had only sent the news back a few hours ago, and the master gods had already arrived. What kind of astonishing divine ability was this? The middle region master was shocked as well. The king of the west was in the northwest of the Tiangang galaxy. How long had it been? He had crossed the immortal region and half of the 8 galaxies to get here. Master gods were indeed master gods. This was too unbelievable, wasn't it? But thinking about it, it was understandable. The overlords could control the laws of heaven and earth of the entire world. They probably controlled the laws of space to cross the void. Emperor of Punish and the others ignored them. They all stood outside the black hole. The black hole had exploded and was slowly disappearing. Because of the explosion of the black hole, the nearby space was very unstable. Cracks appeared from time to time. Xing Di and the others ignored the spatial cracks and flew to the side of the spatial black hole. They focused and observed for a moment. Xing Di smiled and said, "This is indeed the passage to the Flame Empress world. This passage has been destroyed. The Flame Empress world should have been sent into Meru empty space." "Hee, you want to escape like this?" "Flame Empress, you are too naive. There is still your incomplete magic power here. I know you can sense it. I will give you 1 year to come out and fight me. Otherwise, I will personally go to the Meru Void and smash your Flame Empress world." Remember the mobile website. Chapter 38-23. After Xing Di finished speaking, he disappeared with the Middle Realm King and the 3 over-gods in a flash of white light. He believed that Flame Empress would come out. Flame Empress world had been sent into Meru Realm. This meant that Flame Empress cared a lot about the beings inside. Her descendants might even exist. Since Flame Empress cared, she would not dare to not appear. Otherwise, Xing Di could take a few over-gods into Meru Realm to find Flame Empress world and smash it. The reason he gave her a year was because he wanted Flame Empress to make arrangements for her funeral. If he did not give her this time, why would she come out to die? Xing Di knew Flame Empress battle power. Although she had been in seclusion for 300,000 years, he believed that Flame Empress battle power had not increased by much. Otherwise, Flame Empress would have killed him in 9 Hells Purgatory long ago. This was simple logic. As for Lord Jia Luo and the other newly ascended overgod, Xing Di did not care. Lord Jia Luo's soul was injured and had not recovered. His battle power could not increase, only decrease. There was also a newly ascended overgod. What battle power could a newly ascended overgod have? In these years, they had not only been recovering in 9 Hells Purgatory, but also increasing their battle power. Xing Di's battle power had greatly increased. The other overgods had more or less improved. In his opinion, killing Flame Empress and the others was too easy. Let alone a year, he would not panic even if he had 10,000 or 10,000 years. Also, in this 1 year, he had another thought. He wanted to use this 1 year to send an overgod to find Flame Empress world. If he found it, it would be equivalent to grabbing Flame Empress lifeline. At that time, he wanted to force Flame Empress to submit and become his woman. He had not obtained Ice Empress in the past, but the twin Flame Empress had obtained it. Just as Xing Di had said, the space-time black hole still had remnants of Flame Empress magic power. Flame Empress could feel Xing Di's words. She had brought Jia Luo and Star Emperor Zishi with her, and they were in a secret realm not far away. She could hear everything clearly. 1 year. The Flame Empress' lips curled into a cold sneer when she heard that. She had guessed what the disciplinary emperor was thinking. She had even guessed that the disciplinary emperor would send over-gods to the mountain realm. This was part of her plan. If it was a head-on battle, she would definitely not be a match for the Xingdi and the others. She knew this, so there was only one way for her to win: luring the tiger away from the mountain and defeating them one by one. There were 3 over-gods on their side, and they did not fear any of them. They even had a chance to kill the Punisher. It was very likely that she would be able to kill the other over-gods. If she wanted to win, she would have to find a way to separate the Xingdi and the others and kill them one by one. Sending Flame Empress World into Meru realm space was to protect Flame Empress World as much as possible. Being in Meru realm space was safer than being in a large world. The other was to be used as bait to lure the snake out of its hole. It was impossible for all 4 of them to go to the Meru realm to search for the Flame Empress realm. Under normal circumstances, they could only send 1 or 2. Then they would have a chance. Star Emperor, follow the plan. Empress Flame waved her hand and Star Emperor retreated. Star Emperor and the others were not very useful. They could only investigate the situation and act as bait. Actually, it was the easiest and fastest way for main gods to do the scouting. They could control the laws of heaven and earth and sweep through a large area. But main gods would not do something so trivial. If Empress Flame and the others went to investigate, they would be exposed. After Astro Emperor left, Jia Luo took a fruit and said with hatred in his eyes, "Sister, if we can kill the Punisher this time, let me do the last hit." The last time Jia Luo was injured, it was because of the Punisher. Jia Luo hated the Punisher to the core. Just now, he almost killed his way out, but was stopped by Empress Flame. Qinya Zishi did not mind. She asked with a frown, "Sister, how is Brother Lu? Can you feel it? Didn't you leave a mark in his soul?" Empress Flame had secretly left a mark in Lu Li's soul. Otherwise, she would not have been able to tell that Lu Li was still alive when she went to the 7th heaven. Hearing Zishi's question, Empress Flame closed her eyes to sense. Then, she murmured in confusion, "What is going on? What is it?" Qinya Zishi asked in confusion. Jia Luo turned around in surprise as well. Empress Flame did not answer. She closed her eyes again to sense. Then, she opened her eyes and said, "Lu Li's body is gone and his source of life is gone. Something strange has happened to his soul as well. But I can feel that his soul is still here. But where is his soul? I cannot feel it. I only know that it is still here." "What?" Qinya Zishi was stunned. Jia Luo's nose twitched as well. He blinked in confusion. They were all main gods. They knew very well that as long as a mark was left in a warrior's soul, they could sense the situation of the warrior as long as they wanted. Lu Li's body was destroyed. This meant that Lu Li was in danger. His source of life was gone. An average warrior must have died. Lu Li's soul was still here, but Empress Flame could not feel it. Qinya Zishi thought about it for a while. Her eyes dimmed down. She murmured in sorrow, "Brother Lu must have passed away. I think a remnant of his soul has escaped. Alas, Brother Lu is dead. We are going to die soon." Qinya Zishi was filled with sadness and depression. There was not a trace of fighting spirit left in her. She had deep feelings for Lu Li. If it weren't for Lu Li, she would have been dead. Later, Lu Li risked his life to save her from the haunted mountain. She regarded Lu Li as family. She had a blind admiration for Lu Li, just like a little girl's dependence on her father and brother. Even after she became a main god, she believed that as long as Lu Li was here, there was nothing she could not overcome. But now, it seemed that Lu Li was dead. Her faith was broken. The tree that supported her had fallen. No. Empress Flame thought for a while and shook her head. "Zishi, don't worry. I feel Lu Li is not dead. He is in a strange state. Well, let's go and have a look. It won't take long." "Okay." Qinya Zishi's eyes glowed. Major God Gallo was interested as well. Empress Flame glowed, and then they disappeared from the secret realm. Of course, they didn't rely on flying. Instead, they used the law of space to pass through the void. 2 hours later, they arrived at the seventh heaven. Here, Empress Flame didn't dare to go through the void randomly. She flew quickly with Gallo and Zishi. Since Empress Flame could sense where Lu Li's soul was, she flew quickly. In an hour, they arrived at the bottom of the abyss. Lu Li's soul is down there. Empress Flame pointed to the bottom of the abyss. The three main gods dashed to the bottom. Empress Flame took a look, and her pupils suddenly contracted. She said in surprise, "Aura of primordial origin. Lu Li's soul is in the aura of primordial origin. How did it become like this? What is going on? P.S. It's stuck. Let me sort out." You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.